you, everybody.
Thank you.
He's been around for too long.
He's really trying to brown nose, isn't he?
We all set?
Oh, that's later. Okay.
Yeah, that's coming in at the end.
Okay.
Evening, and we are now back in public session with the Board of Selectmen's meeting for the 31st of August, 2020. And would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is a public hearing. The public hearing is to resume the hearing for public testimony and comment regarding the amending the building permit ordinance to change the fees. Original hearing took place on the 27th of July. So the public hearing is now open. And the new decision that has come forth from the planning board for reconsideration to us for fees for building permits. And the revised ordinance for that will be as follows. The approved is going to be for 40 cents per square foot gross floor area, which means floor area includes a basement, garage, deck, etc. Gross floor area of all construction proposed. Calculating the square area shall be the sum of the gross horizontal areas of all floors of the building, including cellars, basements, usable parts, and areas. Horizontal dimensions shall be taken from the exterior face of the walls. The square footage amount of 40 cents also will include permits for a garage, deck, shed, etc. With the limit under 200 square feet, which will be an application base rate fee of $50. Renovations or adding bathroom, finish a basement, demolition, septic, electrical, plumbing, etc., the base application rate will $50. For pool, an additional application rate of $50 plus the application for electrical of $50, and the total would be $100. New mobile homes being placed on a slab will be just the slab at 40 cents a square foot. For instance, if it was 14 by 74 equals 1,036 square feet at 40 cents, a square foot would equal $414.40. Replacement of a mobile home, be it the base rate application of $50 plus electrical fee of $50, a mechanical fee of $50, total is $150, and any other permit application that may be required.
Can I just ask a question? A replacement of a mobile home, is that like size to like size? Because you can take a 12 by 20 and make it a 16 by 85.
I see that, and that's where it's
So,
lacking, so.
I guess, well, you can make that change. The replacement of a mobile home with the same existing
It would have
size
to
or
be-
smaller
yeah,
can be the flat fee.
would have
But
to be the
anything
flat
that's
fee.
larger than
Would
that
have
should
to
be the
at
new
the
fee.
40 cents, correct. And I think that's something that's can be misconstrued, but yes, that would have to be.
Because now they can come double wides, they can come,
Yeah,
you know, you take
they
a
could
single
take an
wide, you get a double
old-fashioned
wide.
single wide, remove it, and then put in a double wide, and for the 150 instead of going with the 40 cent. But and I don't know why that would be in there, because if it's replacement of a mobile home, it would then be like a new mobile home being placed on that slab.
Right, but they're saying the replacement is a base rate of 150, so you can double the size.
Yep.
And still be 150, where if you take a 15, I mean, you double the size by 40 cents, I'm sure it's gonna be more than that.
Yeah, you're right, correct. And I think that should be amended to that.
That would be the only thing I could see as an
Yep.
amendment.
That's all that I saw in this. Other than that, it covers pretty much everything that's was put forth, instead of being ambiguous with the finished, unfinished, insulated, uninsulated. You know, it's just be the just the continuing, it'd be continuing conflict with all that. Okay, on that, is there any public comment on that? Anything from the board? Any thoughts? Okay, what's the general consensus?
You got closed public comment.
Yeah,
Close public
I
comment.
mean, okay. If there's no other comment on this, then we'll close the hearing. Or is there somebody coming? We'll hold off a minute. You're just in time. We're about ready to close the hearing, Mr. Kirk, so,
Oh, can I speak?
yep.
Thank you, Mr.
This is the
Chairman.
public hearing on the building
Right.
permit. Okay.
Neil Kirk, Mount Dearborn Road. I am a member of the planning board, but I am not speaking on their behalf. I'm speaking on my own behalf. There are two things that I think the board should know when it comes to putting in a fee for something. Number one is the legal, and number two is the economic. Legally,
Could you do me a favor? Yeah, we can't, at home, you can't hear through the mask. If you just remove it while you're there, that's
Okay.
perfect. Thank you.
the legal is this. In New Hampshire, if you have a tax, you can raise revenue from it. But if you have a fee, you can't raise revenue. You can only cover your costs. So, to the extent that there's a difference in cost for the town to administer a program for houses versus barns and sheds. In other words, if you're talking about a fee for inspections and a fee for looking around or whatever else that you do that you're charging this fee for, if there's a difference between what it costs the town to do a home, finished space, and what it costs the town to do unfinished space, if there's a difference, your fee structure has to reflect that. That's because otherwise you'd have a tax, you're raising revenue. And the tax is a very different kind of thing. Now let's talk about the economics. To the extent that you're charging the same rate for finished space as unfinished space, what you're doing is asking the people who are getting more services, I assume, for the finished space, to have some of their cost picked up by the unfinished space people. So if you're charging 40 cents a foot, and I have a shed, and I'm paying 40 cents a foot for that, I'm in effect subsidizing the homeowner who's getting a permit and paying 40 cents a foot also, because it costs the town more to do his inspections or whatever you do than it does to do mine. And that, to me, is unfair. So I think that the better approach for the town is to distinguish between these two types of permits and services involved and charge accordingly. So if it's cheaper for unfinished space, then that's what you charge them a little bit less than you charge people for finished space. If I wanted to put up a 1,000-foot barn and I got to pay 40 cents, I'm paying what, $400? And I'm putting up a 1,000-foot house, a small house. I'm paying $400. That seems to me unfair, because I think there's less work, less inspections, less whatever it is for the town to take care of my barn at 1,000 feet than it is to take care of somebody's house at 1,000 feet. Just a thought. Thank you.
Any other comments on the public hearing?
Jack, what was the rate prior to this? Do you know?
50 cents.
50 cents,
But it was
Been that
for
for quite some
finished
time?
space.
but it was for finished, it
Only for
said.
finished.
And then before that, it was based on valuation.
Based on what they told you it was gonna cost to
What it could
build.
be cost to build.
So
Was
what-
per thousand.
Using Mr. Kirk's example, what would the barn builder pay?
If the barn was valued at
100,000?
$100,000, and it was, it'd be a lot more than that. I mean, you were paying what it was valued at, what it cost to
No,
build.
if you came in and got a bill,
Square
I mean,
foot.
which way are we talking? Because if
No,
you're,
well, he's asking the question, what would it be is under the old system?
current
for-
system.
in the 50 cents?
For the value, as for,
Yeah, well,
based on the
I get
valuation.
50 cents for
Per
a
square
house.
foot,
But
finished.
if using Mr. Kirk's example of the barn,
Right.
what
There's
would that
no-
individual pay?
It shouldn't be the
There
same.
wasn't
My
the-
understanding that it
was,
wasn't just finished, it was insulated versus
yeah,
uninsulated.
the last one that they sent forward to was insulated
First,
and
yeah.
uninsulated. Then the one before that was, it just said finished.
So if it cost you $50,000 to build this huge barn, the old way used to be $6 a thousand.
$6 a thousand.
But what happened is we were getting the contractor coming in, building a house for 149,000, selling it for 500,000. You know what I'm saying? So there was no fair way at that
No
point
equity.
for the person that put it down, you know, seriously as to what it costs to build, and today's cost is more. I mean, we've seen that everywhere because the construction supply shortage. The 149.9 build of a house is long out the window. I guess I just thought it was a fair way of doing it, was to be straight across the board,
instead
because
of-
there's a lot of people, and I totally understand what Mr. Kirk says. There's a lot of people that finish basements without calling us, and then they're renting it out.
Yep.
And then we don't ever find it until someone gets allowed to come in.
Or until somebody they sell it. And
Or
then
they
it's-
sell it, and there's all of a sudden being sold with a rental income.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think you can cut it either way.
Or, you know, they talk about putting a barn up, you know, that
barn
was
or
his
a
example.
shed.
A barn or a shed. I seen some barns or shed that people have put up recently, they turned them into, like the commercial, the she shed, the man cave out in the backyard that's got more electrical, plumbing and everything else in it, and it's not a shed anymore. I mean, and I think, in sitting with the board and looking for a fair way for anybody, I mean, unless you just say, okay, every permit's a flat fee for this much. I mean, to do it by square footage, you know, 40 cents is,
But
But then you're still gonna
Square
pay for an
foot.
electrical permit,
and you're still gonna pay for the
plumbing
electrical,
permit, you're still
because
gonna
those
pay for
also
plumbing
incorporate
permit.
other trades. I mean, this is a building permit, and you get the electrical for the electrician's gonna have to come and pull a permit anyway. So you're gonna have that come in, and somebody's gonna do a separate inspection for that. The same thing for plumbing, same thing for a mechanical, which would be your heating, you know, whether it be wood, oil, or gas, you know.
So those there wouldn't necessarily be in a barn,
Yeah,
an
those wouldn't,
unfinished
so you're
pole
not
barn.
getting,
Electrical.
you're not getting those. You may not have
may.
electrical.
You
You
may
may, or
not.
you may not, depending on what you've got it set for. So, you know, they were looking at 50 cents, and it's like, and then the determination was to go back between, you know, finished, and again, it's finished and unfinished, you know, you know, you could say, oh, I'm only, you know, it's insulated, so if I don't insulate these walls, and this part of the square footage would be taken out of the equation to say, oh, I'm not gonna, so you can't charge me that for the insulated space, so you'd have to find a different fee for that, you know, and someone else came in before and said, you know, it's the whole envelope of the building, whether it's insulated or not, that whole building is what it's sitting on, the square footage, so I think, you know, in the discussions with the planning board, and I think this was more of a fair way, without, I see Mr. Kirk's point, but the other point of it is, you know, there's just more than somebody throwing up a simple barn in a lot of places, and I think you have to temper it, what's gonna be fair for, you know, A or B, and try to find a happy spot in the middle and go that way. And I thought 40 cents, I actually personally recommended 35 cents, but they came up with 40 cents as a majority, so 40 cents I think is a little more reasonable. And it's a lot more reasonable than $6 a thousand for the valuation, because that was all over the map. And there was no fair way really to do that.
So this whole 40 cents in this building permit is, the town brings this money in, but you still have a fee for when an electrician comes in and wires.
Yep.
Right, so you.
Plumbing,
Plumbing, whatever, you still get more fees, so.
and you're tracking it, plus you're doing more inspections the more you do that. The other thing
Yeah,
is,
there's an inspection.
there may be an inspection on the building, you know.
Yeah.
You may not get somebody doing the building, you may get somebody that's just coming to pull an electrical permit. I'm putting I'm rewiring the house, it's an old house, I want to redo the wiring in it. Or I'm upgrading the plumbing, you know, it may be something to that. So there's a way to track all of that without having to go back through, and they're not doing just, just putting up a building. They're just doing a minor repair or something like that. And I think I'm looking at it, trying to balance it. I think that's probably the fairest for anybody at this point. The way I look at it, and the way that, like you said, with the values of places. And I'm sure we've missed a lot. I know we've missed a lot. And, we've had to have inspectors go back on, for some of these houses that are being built multiple times. They don't go once, they go
There's
several
usually
times.
6 or 7 times that they're out.
At least,
Foundation,
at least.
septic, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
They're going out to look at the footings, then they look at the walls, then they're looking at what it's capped, and then
Septic-
go
septic
from, is this
system.
framed, and then they start looking at if there's a
They
septic
didn't
system.
go for framing when we did, but they did electrical.
They do now.
plumbing.
I mean, I know they've been going out the house is starting to get framed up to see how they're doing. So, insulation, see that they're meeting the insulation requirements for,
But the fee that we're charging, we're not actually, even if they're out 10 times, they're there 10 or 15 minutes normally, that's all I remember them coming out.
Yep.
So the town's making money on this.
well, then you gotta look at what your administrative costs are in the office to do the filing, to turn around and do all the track down, all of this. I mean, it's, some of that has gotta be, and I'm not looking to tax anybody, no. I mean, but, sometimes there may be times, and I know there's been projects here in town where the inspector's been out there for hours, and then we've had to call somebody else in to come in with him. A third-party inspector. So, and they're there for a period of time. So I think I don't think it's that much unreasonable.
I'd like to see a price comparison with maybe the last couple of years worth of homes being built, maybe the last 5 years, between
Well-
like 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 square feet. Make sure we're not shortchanging ourselves down the road.
I can share one right
Yeah.
off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Okay?
I lived it. And I do this, I'll do it for a reason, just so that there's no disparaged treatment. My son built a house. He came in and filled out the form, told you exactly what it was gonna cost him, was charged $6 a square foot.
Okay?
You take his house that he built, charge him at your 40 cents, he should have paid $200 less. But he was fair and honest
Mm-hmm.
and upfront, and based on that, he could have paid less. But he didn't. So that's just, but as I said at the beginning, that's someone that comes in and does it, and I'm not saying that it's dishonestly done. I think it's because he had somebody build his house and had a budget. But if you've got somebody that builds homes for a living, they can tell you the cost is probably more the cost of the material versus their time involved in doing it, which I think sometimes is where the difference comes. Like if I want to build a garage, I can tell you it's $20,000 that I do it on weekends. But if I had to pay somebody to build a garage, it would be probably $50,000. I think the fair way is, I mean, and I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there's dishonest. I'm just saying that there is a time that there's places that are a certain, someone comes in and says, I'm gonna build a house for $300,000. Or I'm gonna build a house for $150,000, but the other $150,000 in time is my time. But to pay a fee and do it differently, and that's only one example, and I know that one off the top of my head because it was just done a year ago.
Do we know what other towns are charging?
I think the
They're all
planning
over-
board already went through.
They're all
They
over the
did
map.
Henniker,
I
they
mean,
did
they're all,
Goffstown,
some
they
of them are
did
all over the
everywhere.
map, so I mean.
They even went with.
And they have, and a lot of them, their fees were a lot higher than we even considered. And I don't want to, again, we looked at it, there's been a lot of building in this town. And it's, like I said, it's been all over the map. And the last one with the 50 cents a square foot was, the reason why this is being addressed is because that was brought in there. And it wasn't on an even playing field, so to speak. There was people were complaining that it wasn't fair because it didn't mention, it was unfinished. It said finished space. Well, it's not finished, so how are you charging me 50 cents a square foot? I think this is a lot fairer. We're not looking to make money. We're not in the money-making business. We're in to try to cover our costs. And I don't think we'd be cutting ourselves short at this rate. By looking at when the planning board, we looked at it, and I don't think we're gonna be cutting ourselves short anywhere in the fees. And you can't, and that's not a yardstick, because there's some years that there's a building boom, and then there's other years that there's nothing. I mean, you may build, there may be a new construction for maybe 3 houses or 5 houses a year. But other times now, all of a sudden, in recent years, we've seen one project, there's, 15 houses built in one project in about 2 years. So, and now we've got another project that's opening up with houses. So I think this is it's a fair and even-handed, I'd say, fee system that's a lot closer to being equitable for everybody, both contractors, that way they're not getting anything as an advantage above anybody else that comes in and pulls a permit to do some project.
See, I think the difference comes in when you're assessed tax-wise. So you pay the same for building permit, square footage-wise, but you're taxed totally different.
Yep.
You're
So your
taxed
son
on,
was charged based on the cost, the estimated cost of the house,
And that's
correct?
not always fair. I mean, I could build a house, say.
because that's what he said that was
Yeah.
gonna cost him to
If
build.
I built a house for, say, $75,000, it could be a 28 by 32-foot cape. And it cost me, that's what it cost for me, the materials, because I'm doing the work. But when I turn around and have that house assessed, or I go to sell it, I says, oh, this is what's gonna cost me, it's gonna cost me $75,000, and that's what they're gonna base the fee on. But when I go to sell it, I could sell it for $500,000. That's where the inequity sometimes come in, but the other person that comes in and says, oh, my house is gonna cost me, $250,000 to build, he's gonna pay more for it than somebody else, and again, it was not always equitable that way. I think this way, it's a fair system for
I'm just,
anybody that's
I
gonna
don't,
go.
I don't think it's enough.
What's that?
I don't think it's high enough.
And that's, I think.
We're not in to make money, that's the
not
thing.
No, and let me explain why I think it's maybe not high enough. $115,000 to build a pretty decent home, more than
How much?
115,000 in material.
Materials.
Just materials.
You're not talking labor.
Nope, just materials, which is what the old permit was based off of,
It was
correct?
supposed to be what the cost was to build the house, that included labor.
No, it just said
materials.
the cost to
Or
build.
well, that could, the cost to build it could be the labor.
Well, there's the gray area.
There's the gray area.
So $115,000 in material,
Mm-hmm.
or however you want to word it, will easily build you a 1,500 square foot house, yes? Maybe even
Give or take.
2,000, depending on how it's designed.
Yep.
Okay.
Previously, it would be $690, doing the math. 1,500 square feet is only $600.
But then but when you did it the other way, it also included the other permits. It included your electrical permit and your plumbing
Okay.
permit was all in that. It's not in
So
there.
now you're getting it
Okay,
on top.
that's where I was getting.
And the thing is that looking at it, and with the
All right.
planning board, they went back and looked at it, and you're, at the most, on the average, you're probably only gonna be $200 less than what you were getting before. But again, we're not in the business to make money.
I want to make sure we're covering our costs. That's all I'm concerned about. If you're telling me we're covering our costs.
And
then-
according to
then
what we were,
conversation
according to
is on.
this, when they brought it forth, they'd cover their costs.
Okay.
I guess you can do it like you did at the transfer station. If after a while there's a huge, huge decrease, then we take it.
And we look at it again, but this is something that, they brought it forth, and it's been hashed over at the planning board for months, when it was brought up. And they've been back and forth all over the map, and this is, I want to say, this is the second one that's been brought to us, but it's about the fourth one that's been hashed around. And this is what they came up with after we sent it back to them, and I think that's, we've got to have a fee schedule. We don't have one right now, unless we go back to the 50
No,
cent.
I agree. Like I
I'll go
said, my
back.
concern was, I
And,
want to make sure we're covering our costs. If we're covering our costs, then great. Let's call the vote.
Any other comments?
Are you gonna add what I
Yes.
had put, this is what I made a change to, replacement of mobile home of the same footprint will be the base rate of $50 plus the same thing. And then I wrote, replacement mobile home larger than original footprint will be charged at 40 cents a square foot.
Do we want to do footprint or just square footage? Because
40 cents
Could
an
you-
additional per
Are
square
there
footage?
Additional square
Andy?
footage at 40
are
cents.
there
Additional?
two-story manufactured homes?
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
those are
mobile, yeah, that's a
That's a
manu-
modular.
That's a different one.
That's
We're talking a
manufac-
mobile home.
Okay.
Has the wheels and the skirt and the whole, yeah.
Yeah, those are, they call them manufactured homes
I don't think
now.
you
The other
can get
ones are called
single ones.
modulars that come in like,
I wasn't sure if you can,
Sections.
I wasn't sure if you can get multiple floors on those.
like the one down on 114, that was a
And the reason-
four-section home that came in and with a crane.
The
because
reason I
it's a-
say same footprint, because a lot of times the older mobile homes are honestly non-conforming.
Yep,
So you have to be forced to do something different, which would bring you into a different.
yep.
The new mobile homes aren't the narrow ones anymore. So, the only thing I wanted to do was a replacement to go to a double wide shouldn't be $50.
Right.
That's just how I look at it,
If you're replacing an existing one, yeah,
to be fair.
that's right. And I think I agree with that, to put that, put that language in with
Okay.
it.
That's the only thing I changed.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Try to keep it as simple as possible.
I think that's the simplest one without, because every other one you could, it was still.
Okay, so then you need a motion to adopt the
Okay.
fees.
I'll make a motion, we adopt the new building permit fee and schedule with the amendment of the last section on replacement of mobile home, that if it's in the existing footprint of what was there, that the fee should stay at $50 for an application fee, $50 the electrical fee, and a mechanical fee of $50 for a total of $150. If it's not on the same footprint as that one, then any additional to that would be at 40 cents a square foot. Do I have a second?
Second,
All those in favor?
yes.
Aye. John?
No.
Ricky?
No.
3-2?
3-2.
Okay. All right, so you have the manifest in front of you?
Yes. The manifest, to order the treasurer to sign the payroll and accounts payable checks dated September 3rd, 2020, as included in the following manifest. Payroll manifest for $67,761.47. That's for weekly fire and payroll, monthly payroll. Accounts payable manifest for $58,158.93. Ware District accounts payable manifest for $500,000. John Stark accounts payable manifest for $400,000, for a total of $1,025,920.40. The following manifests were previously ordered to sign at the August 17th, 2020 Board of Selectmen's meeting. The payroll manifest was for $63,381.71. That was the weekly and monthly payroll checks dated 8/27/2020. Accounts payable manifest for $63,690.25 for checks dated 8/27/2020. Supplemental accounts payable manifests for $531.40, a check dated at 8/27/2020, and supplemental accounts payable manifest for $45,148 for check dated 8/27/2020. As there is no selectmen's meeting scheduled for Monday, September 7th and September 14th, 2020, please have the treasurer to sign payroll checks dated September 10th and September 17th, 2020, estimated to be $140,000. Furthermore, to order the treasurer to sign up to the amount of $150,000 for accounts payable that cannot wait until the next scheduled meeting. Reports and annual check amounts will be reported to the Board of Selectmen by inclusion on the manifest memo at the next meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Is that all 5?
There you go.
I just want, just one quick thing before you get started, and then I'll leave you be. We applied for, Beth, is this a gopher, is that for the election? It's for, okay, it was a supplemental election grant through the state, and we had given Beth permission to be our signer.
Yep.
And she applied the supplemental, and we need the authority in a motion form that we also let her send in the grant for the election.
So moved.
And
Second.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, so then the last thing is the personnel policy.
Okay, Beth, you're up.
Battery.
You can't talk with that on, yes. I know.
Can't hear a word you're saying. Okay, so you all have your, sorry, Beth Rouse. You all have your personnel policies with you?
Yes.
Okay. Since I had emailed you last Friday and probably the Friday before that, there's been just some minor changes. When we get to that section, I'll let you know, and I have some handouts for you. First of all, I want to say thank you. This has been 2 years in the making. I'm glad you guys are looking at it, reviewing it, and making some changes, because how we pay our employees, this is it. So everything has to be to the T, no more audits from the Department of Labor. Okay, so most of the changes in here are just simple. The previous manual in most areas said all employees. Obviously, that's not the case. So I'll start on page 3. I just want to make you aware of the one change on page 3, which if there's a collective bargaining agreement or personnel policy like the library trustees has, or the personnel policy that the Board of Fire Wards is generating, or the collective bargaining agreement, that comes first. If it's not listed in that policy or contract, the employee follows this one. So we just want to make sure those are first. So that's really it on page 3.
So
On page-
I guess I question, I guess I just want
Yeah.
to question that for the fact of, aren't they all town employees?
They are, but they're all governed by different bodies,
So
except the collective bargaining agreement is a contract.
that's a contract,
Yeah.
and that's, now, I'm outside of that.
Yeah,
I know the CBA is
yeah,
its own
contract.
entity. I guess I question all of their policies overriding this. All of them,
The library trustees and the Board of Fire Wards.
correct.
Okay,
That would be my only question.
okay.
And I haven't looked into that enough to know if there'd be any conflicts.
There are
Per se.
conflicts. Most of them are really this copied with just based on their module. For like the library, they have part-timers that work 9 hours a week. They have part-timers that work 11 hours a week. So their accruals are different. Their categorized employees are different.
Okay.
But if you look through it, and I have copies of it if you want to look through my policies and procedure, you can look at it. And it's really a photocopy of this, just
Right.
morphed into what their structure is.
I guess I'll put my concern out there. The Board of Fire Wards haven't updated their SOPs
The Board of Fire
since-
Wards right
since the
now is
90s.
working on their full-time employees' personnel policy, mostly.
And that's fine, but
Yeah.
the current, what we have today at 7:30 is from the 90s.
I haven't seen it, actually.
So, to me, that's concerning.
Yeah.
That something we're updating into the 2020 would be overriding the 2020 from the 90s. I guess that's my concern.
Yeah, okay. I'd like to see that
That'd
policy
have
from
to
the
be,
90s,
yeah, but that
actually.
would be more putting pressure on the Board of Fire Wards, and it'd be more.
I'm not
in their
saying it's
ballpark.
not, but it, for Joe Employee, where does Joe Employee fall? And same with the library trustee, whatever, I don't know when the last time they updated theirs.
Recently, actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Within 3 years.
Mike-
They're
Mike-
actually revisiting it, well, I've sent them suggestions for
all right.
Thursday night.
Yeah, no,
'Cause
I'm
we
just-
all want to be on the same page,
and I don't
Yeah.
disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think everybody should be on the same
Yeah.
page. I just wanna make sure that,
and everyone is covered under an agreement or a policy, so that an employee of the town can go, which policy is mine, and they can actually take it and look to see,
I just don't wanna
What's
see
benefit?
conflict, that's all, between the two.
No.
Between whether it be library, fire, or this.
we'll get them all together. On page 4, like I said before, the previous policy really just had full-time employees defined, part-time and seasonal and temporary. We have a lot many more employees than those 4. So I added the call per diem employees. I also added the town officials employees, because they are employees of the town. We cover them through workers' comp. They're not entitled to all the benefits in the policy, but they are entitled to the state and federal laws. So I just wanted to clarify them. So, and when someone is hired on the payroll change form, it is what type of employee you are. Are you a part-time, are you seasonal, are you a full-time, exempt, non-exempt? So that when the employee takes their personnel policy with them, they know who they are and where they stand.
Chairman, are we voting on this tonight?
No.
No.
Thank you.
Not the chairman, sorry. I said I'm not the chairman, but I answered. No.
We're not. We're reviewing it.
Yeah, you have a public hearing. Some of the changes I made were just simple grammar errors or changes, department heads, supervisor, you'll see that throughout here. I just changed it to capitalize their titles. Any questions on page 5?
Well, on 5, under M, 1 and 2,
Yep,
while I agree with the separation, I'm not a fan of the verbiage.
okay,
I never have been.
But for the exempt,
Everybody is a professional.
okay.
Everybody is professional in their jobs. So I would rather find another word than primarily clerical and non-professional. I just.
Salary and
I would
non-salary.
no, I'd rather find another synonym for that, other than, that term to label an employee has always bugged me, always.
So would you be salaried and non-salaried, like Sherry just
I mean,
suggested?
And that's fine if that covers,
Yep.
if that covers the intent,
if
that's
that
fine.
covers the legal intent of it, yes.
Yes, I've never liked that terminology.
Any other questions on page 5, concerns? Okay, on page 6, the first change, I just crossed out home, because not many people have a home telephone number anymore. Section R, I did want your opinion on, the performance evaluations. I didn't know if you wish to delete this section. Since I've been here, non-existent. So,
What do you
and it
mean
says
it's
here that the.
Well, the merit raises and how you get raises has never been, we haven't done that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The reviews are done, other than the second half that talks about anybody that gets this is eligible for a raise. And then
yeah.
it talks about merit raises being denied.
I think that part should be stricken and just, but we gotta keep
'Cause we've
some
done
type
the
of
pool,
performance
And
evaluations.
then you guys have always looked at
Yep.
a percentage.
Are we currently doing, a review of each employee at least once a year?
Those are done, but they've stacked and no one's ever looked at them. And that, I think the biggest problem is that it says they must have an overall rating. I mean, I don't mind having the evaluation,
Right.
but to tell you that if you have a 3 or above, which is competent, in order to be eligible for a raise, I don't like that part.
No.
I just
So-
think that part should be stricken.
From
You
the
think we strike from employee
employee
must,
all the way to the board. of
I think the employee must have an overall rating should
Yeah.
be just taken off.
taken off all
Yeah.
the way down to decisions?
Yeah, yeah,
yes.
the last sentence before final approval, performance
And
based.
then leave the last sentence. That's,
Except strike the increases, performance-based increases.
Final approval shall rest with the Board of Selectmen.
Final approval of performance shall rest with the Board of Selectmen.
but are you gonna do performance-based? Are you gonna do that, or are you gonna just do a pool?
Well, we'll do the pool, but I think as far as performance, as far as their overall evaluations, we should be doing it. And, I mean, some places do it every year, and we've been lax in it, we've done some every year, but I think at times, we've seen the department heads, we've seen Benji's, we've seen yours. I think maybe we ought to go, like a lot of other places, do it every 2 years
Should we change,
instead of every year, and and be more thorough in doing it, so,
oh, yeah, that's fine.
and stagger it, so.
Should we change final approval of performance, should we change that to final approval of evaluation?
Still a performance evaluation, so I'd say,
Well, it's just,
I would just say,
I would just say final increases rest with the board.
I wouldn't even put increases, because we're gonna strike the increase part of it.
Final
I don't think it's
increases.
based on, we're not gonna base the performance on increases, because some, we're not, that's not what the, I don't think what we're looking at as far as.
Increases lay with the taxpayer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would just say approval rests with the board.
okay. Final approval rests with the board.
Yeah, okay, I'm good with that.
Final approval of what?
Final approval rests with the board.
Shall
of
rest with the
Selectmen.
Board of
Rest with the Board
Selectmen
of
as far as
Selectmen.
The final approval of what?
your evaluation.
Okay, I'm just noting it.
Okay.
I won't write it, but just so I know what you're talking about.
Are you leaving the word shall?
Yeah,
Okay.
You didn't say that, you are?
yeah.
Well, we'll get a new one anyway.
Okay, the other change on this page is regarding the payday. Obviously, the payday is not changing, but I do want employees to know that they are expected to review their paycheck and look for any discrepancies and come to the finance administrator if they have any concerns. Also, I do not give paychecks out to anyone other than the department head or the employee themselves by law. If you want a spouse or a sister or a family member to come get your check, we need that in writing. I cannot give a check to anyone other than the employee or the department head. Page 7, most of it is just formatting. For section H, the wage salary schedule, that is where the town vote. So usually the applicable wage increases following the annual review. I scratched that and wrote town vote. Okay? All right. Unless you guys go back to the old system. That is it on page 7. Page 8, just grammar. And then I included, under compensation, attendance, and leave for absenteeism and tardiness. Just to have an employee be aware that their attendance here is important. We all run together. So when an employee is absent or late reporting to work, the work schedules and workflow are disrupted, causing hardship for other employees. So we just want to let people know that continued absenteeism or tardiness will subject the employee to disciplinary action up to and including termination. Just covering ourselves. Okay.
Beth, on B, you've got meal and break periods. Employees are entitled to 2 15-minute breaks for an 8-hour shift. They're also, I think by law, you have to have a half-hour lunch hour.
Turn the page.
That's the next page.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
under the federal labor standards, yeah.
Right
No
there,
no
5
less than
consecutive
1
hour
half,
meal
no
break,
more than
yeah.
1.
So exactly what Sherry said, RSA 275-30A, we have to give them a lunch, stated in here. Also included the break time for nursing mothers, which is also FMLA required. So now we're going to get into overtime. So the first section of overtime is for non-exempt employees. The only thing we're asking to change is right now, the employees, instead of taking overtime, they tend to alter their schedule. So if they have to come back for a meeting, they might come to work late the next day. They still get their 40s in, but they're not asking for overtime to come back to meetings. So we want to make sure we put it in there so that they're allowed to do that if they wish to do that. So we wrote, an employee may either alter their remaining work schedule or request comp time in lieu of overtime pay if it is feasible to do so while continuing to provide service to the community. The employee supervisor or department head must approve the altering of the work schedule or accruing comp time. So that way we, if they are willing to alter their schedule, they're welcome to do so.
So are we gonna take non-exempt out and put non-salary in there like we did earlier?
Well, I think you defined it.
You
No,
well, the
fine.
sta-
Yeah.
You
but
defined
I
it.
think
Right.
that,
That was just
yeah.
a definition.
But
Okay.
the,
Right.
yeah, but the
Okay.
statute it has to, wants a determination between
Yes.
exempt
just
and
wanted-
non-exempt. You have to have
just wanna
that
make
particular
sure.
wording in there.
Yeah, that you,
Okay, the second paragraph, included the, overtime pay for non-exempt town employees who meet the Fair Labor Standards Act definition of employees working for fire protection activities shall be paid at 1 1/2 times the normal hourly rate for all hours worked in excess of their regularly scheduled hours in any 1 week. Because we have full-time firefighters who are at 42 hours, normally that would be 2 hours of overtime. But because they fall under that act, it's over the hours over their scheduled week. So I just wanted to get in there. And then hours actually worked, bereavement leave, which is for Department of Labor standard, and hours paid for holiday shall be counted towards purpose of community overtime. So included bereavement leave, because that is Department of Labor standard. The next paragraph, we did make some changes since these are all the changes we've made. Let me see if I emailed them or for the email.
Thank you.
So regarding the callback, we switched the paragraph entirely. It seems like you guys had some concerns over that at your last meeting. So we wrote, non-exempt employees who are called back prior to their next normal shift will be paid for a minimum of 3 hours at straight time unless such callback would otherwise result in overtime eligibility as provided above. An employee who has been called back and who completes the required tasks and returns to his or her residence within the 3 hour minimum guaranteed may be called back for additional emergency or overtime without an additional 3 hour minimum work guarantee. It is the purpose and intent of this section to assure an employee of at least 2 hours of pay at overtime rate for the inconvenience of being called back to work between the normal shifts, but not to be separately paid for several callbacks within the same 3 hour minimum guarantee period. Fire rescue employees are exempt from this section and follow the policy set by the Ware Fire Rescue Department.
So Beth, what you're saying here is if somebody gets called out and they work 2 hours and they go home and they get in their house and it's been 2 hours and 15 minutes and they're called out again for another problem somewhere else in town, they're not gonna get paid?
That is at the discretion of the department head. That's why it says
Okay.
the but not to be separately paid. Wait a minute. There was may be called back for an additional emergency or overtime without an additional 3 hours minimum.
I don't think that that's really right, because if you were called and you worked 2 hours and 20 minutes or 2.5 hours, and you go home and you don't walk through the door and you get another call, you've already worked for 2.5 hours. Why, if you're sending somebody else out for the same person out again for, say, another issue, why wouldn't you give them call?
What they're doing.
But to back that up, say somebody goes out for 15 minutes and comes back and then gets called back within 15 minutes, they get 6 hours.
Well, they're saying within a 3 hour period.
Yeah, but if
Right.
you're at home,
But
So
if
if
you're
it's-
working
if it's
2.5 hours and you get home and it's 10 minutes left on the clock, you're not gonna pay somebody to go back out?
oh, you'll get paid
You get
again.
paid you 3 hours.
But you're not gonna get paid for 3 hour callback. You'll start getting paid at your hourly
You
rate.
get a second call, right.
You're not gonna get,
Right.
in other words,
Because the same goes for the 15 minutes. If you go in for 15 minutes, you get 3 hours.
you get 3 hours.
And then 20 minutes into, since the last call, if something happens again, you get called out. Now that person just attains 6 hours for basically an hour's worth of work.
Yeah, so now what you're getting, you're still on the 3 hour callback, and then they'll pay you the additional time over that at the hourly rate, not another 6 hours, not another 3 hours on top of it. is what they're doing.
So I think one of the questions that was also raised last time is where did 3 hours come from?
Okay, well, 3 hours is 2 hours of overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for for an employee who gets called out because a tree's across the road and they gotta remove it, they might get 3 hours of straight time. That employee might not have 40 hours of hours worked that week, so they won't get overtime. But if they put in their 40 hours of work, then do this call, they will get the 2 hours of overtime, or 3 hours straight time. Because again, that whole, you can take comp time in lieu of overtime, alter your schedule instead of overtime. Any questions with the callback? Okay, comp time, the only change that was made in, that one was, the last sentence, any unused compensatory hours will be paid in the employee's last paycheck of the fiscal year. I added at the employee's current rate of pay. And then requesting leave other than sick, comp time shall be used first. You okay with that?
Yep.
Holidays, there was a lot of changes to holidays. So that one used to be all employees. We changed it to full and part-time employees. Shall be paid straight time for the holidays that the town observes. So these eligible employees, so I went on to define what holiday pay is. These eligible employees will be paid based on the hours they would have worked that day at their regular straight time rate, holiday pay. Those absent without pay on an extended authorized leave of absence will not be entitled to holiday pay. Holiday pay shall be considered actual hours worked and shall be figured in when calculating overtime pay. Employees who are required to work on a holiday shall be paid for the holiday at the rate of 1 1/2 times their regular rate for hours actually worked on the holiday, in addition to the amount to which they are entitled as holiday pay. I did change that second paragraph, if you noticed on that handout that I just gave you. Instead of if a holiday falls on a Monday, we changed it to if a holiday falls on an employee's scheduled day off, an additional floater day will be granted, which must be used within 30 days of a holiday or will be forfeited. The reason we add that is for recent changes in our schedule, some people are not scheduled to work on Friday now. So come Black Friday, it's a Friday holiday, so.
Or Labor Day, Monday.
Right. So, for instance, I work Mondays now, so I get a holiday. And those that don't work Mondays get a floater to use within 30 days or lose it, because they're already off Monday. So that's why we came up with not a Monday holiday,
Right.
because not every holiday is a Monday.
Right.
Like Black Friday.
It was just easier explained.
Yeah, that's a state holiday.
Yeah.
Friday after Thanksgiving is a state holiday, and has been
It has been for years.
for years.
And some aren't scheduled to work
Governor
Friday,
Thompson
so-
did that, passed it as,
And some aren't scheduled to work on Friday, so that's why we added that.
that's why everybody's,
On the third paragraph, and the full and part-time employees, I added the full and part-time obviously to that too. Usually what we do is the beginning of the year, usually we give every employee 2 floating holidays. What I have found out is people will use them real rapidly and then leave us. So now I would like to issue one or grant one following the first one, Martin Luther King Jr. Civil Rights Day, and then I'll grant another one following Columbus Day. And I also changed it to be more specific. They are 2 8-hour days. All right, so 10-hour people don't get 2 10-hour days, so on and so forth. Any questions on holidays?
Yep.
Okay, vacation leave. What has changed in vacation? As
You
you'll see
added-
on your paper, we did add a additional accrual. Right, in the current personnel policy, it says 16 plus years is 25 days. We made a change, it would be 16 to 20 years is 25 days per year, and then 21 plus years is 30 days per year.
Where did that come from?
That was a request from a selectman and a town administrator.
The reason I thought of that was, at the end of 20 years, you never get more than that, where to try to be, let's be fair, the police go to 250 hours. So, you're also gonna, there's people that have been here more than 20 years. But there's also, in the sick leave, I had voiced my opinion that, you know, if you can, I think the set of accruals should be equal for department to department. I do know they have a collective bargaining, there's a lot of other things that go into that. But as far as time, department, no matter which department you spend time in, if you want to stay here for 30 years, like we had somebody in the highway department stayed 39 years, he never moved off 5 weeks vacation.
who's that?
Who was that?
Randy.
Oh, Randy,
Randy
that's
stayed
right,
there.
jeez, I forgot.
So if you come through the door and want to be a
Career. here.
employee career person at the age of 18, you stay here for 30 plus years, which is what Randy did.
Right.
But
Only 10.
I mean, you're gonna see, I don't know how many people will get beyond 30 more years, but there's some of us that have been 25, 26 years, and a long ways away to retire. I'm not asking to go, and I think John was the one who came up with the same suggestion, was I think we talked about maybe Randy in those days, but, that's where it was.
Yeah.
Try to keep it compatible with all departments, not just one group over here getting more, everybody else over here getting less.
I agree with that. Yeah, it should be equal for all the employees as far as the leave time and
Yep.
so forth.
So that was my reasoning.
Okay. Personally, I don't agree, but sounds like I'm outnumbered.
Can I ask why?
While I don't disagree with John, to the fact of two different departments, you know, one group to one group, but again, that's apples and oranges. That I understand we're the same, but we're not. It's two different job titles, two different job pools. One is a CBA, collective bargaining, that the town agrees with, and then we have the town employees as a blanket. I'm not saying that there's any less on either side. But I would be pretty hard pressed to find in the private sector somebody gets a month off for vacations.
It's actually getting more and more commonplace.
You work
Yeah.
20 hours? I
No.
mean, 20 years someplace?
That you get 5 weeks off.
I did.
It's,
You
it's
go to-
becoming more and
I
more
think
commonplace.
longevity is leaning in that way, which is kind of why.
It's,
You
it's
look-
been a recent change, but it is starting.
You look at,
I
you look at
haven't,
the.
then I haven't seen it, but
You look at the
that's
state,
my-
I mean,
that's my
I don't
reasoning.
care if whether you're a state trooper, you're in the fire marshal's office, you're at
It's
the fire.
municipality, it's not private sector.
But I mean, theirs is, everybody gets the same rate and gets to take the same amount of time. They get accrue it at the same time and have the maximum, then after a certain time, you lose days, you don't accrue anymore. And the
Right,
same- And
yeah.
I think, you know, municipality and government is a lot different from the private sector, and
Right.
I think at this point, that this is what, you know.
Well, again, I'm
we
outnumbered, and
have to
that's
be-
fine. I
I
just,
think we have to look at it differently than the private sector does.
And a lot of times too, when people leave a job, if you work for one company and you got, say, 15 years in and you're getting 3 weeks vacation. Well, when you go to another job, that's part of your bargaining thing, you know, I want 3 weeks to start or
Yeah.
whatever,
And I'm not saying, I mean, we're hiring some new people here that are getting 200 hours of vacation time in a different department, but it was a bargaining chip when they first started. You know, the last two officers that we hired, we gave them as a start out of the gate of 200 hours of vacation time, where somebody here has to be 25 years.
Yeah.
But I understand a bargaining chip could go to the next, that say, hey, I won't take for less than a month off, you know what I mean, that's,
Absolutely.
then they'll say, thanks, we don't need you.
So, I mean,
get it.
so-
But, at the same time, that's where it came from.
So, continuing with vacation leave, I have a concern with the part-timers. What was striked out was they have to work at least 25 hours per week, and then they would earn vacation. Well, I haven't seen part-timers get vacation in the private sector. It is what it is. But with the new verbiage, there's no minimum hours requirement.
Okay, so what I did was cross out the all part-time employees who work at least 25.
Yep.
Because in the beginning of the policy, we defined a part-time employee. It's anyone who works less than 40 on a continuing or indefinite basis.
Less than 40, so if they work 10, they qualify based off of the way I read this.
We don't have part-time 10-hour employees.
Who's to say we won't in 2 years?
Maybe we
next
year.
should
They will be-
specify that
Well, I think
30
at that
hours.
point,
I think
you may
there
have
needs to
to,
be an hour minimum.
Because the only part-time employees we have now is the fire chief and all the admins, well, except for the police, they have a full-time one. Naomi's secretary is a part-time employee. Fire admin's a part-time employee.
Highway has
What
it
about
in the
transfer
budget for a
station?
part-time.
Driver, yeah.
well, Joe's part-time.
what about
But he's
the-
not on a definite basis. It's not like you are working Monday and Friday, 2 and 5.
What about Joe at the highway?
Yeah,
department?
he's a part-time admin.
Part-time, works, yeah.
Yeah.
what about the transfer station part-time guys?
No, they're not on an indefinite basis. Their
They're like-
schedules rotate, changes.
Yeah, and they're only working on a Saturday for a few hours.
If they worked every Saturday, that would be an indefinite basis, but they're rotating.
I still think there
You
ought
want
to
me
be.
to change that?
I feel that it should be
In the
an
beginning?
hour minimum. How many hours per week minimum
You know,
to
I
collect?
can do
like I
that.
said, I've never,
Well, why don't you
in
use
both the
30?
private sector and other
30.
government agencies, I've
30's
never
fine.
seen a part-time employee get vacation time.
Neither am I.
Never.
I'm not gonna take
25?
it away from some, if
No.
it's already had it, I'm not in
But I mean,
favor of taking it away.
Just
but
want to define it.
It needs to be defined as to how many hours minimum.
25?
25.
Back to 25?
I'm okay with that.
25.
Okay, go back to 25?
Yep.
So that'll be on the front page, or do the
So,
definitions?
Instead
I
of
think that'd be
30,
under definitions.
Yeah, because I want to keep
Add that
everyone in a,
back under part-time.
there's one who
Yeah,
works.
part-time employee who is one, works less than 40, but more than, say,
Okay.
25.
But then that brings in,
Yep.
we need to define now that person that works less than 25. In this, because they're not defined.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, I think.
I do.
The other part of it is too, is under the different standards because of the federal law, which you still have to follow. If you work over a certain amount of hours, you know, over the 25 hours, say, for instance, now they're entitled to certain benefits. You know, then they could be considered, we may have to pick them up under the Affordable Care Act and all that other stuff, depending on
better
how many
figure out
hours
what
there are.
that
Could you,
hours are.
yeah, could you break it could you break down part-time employee in the definitions and go, eligible would be 25 plus hours, non-eligible, less than 25 hours?
Okay, so
'cause-
throughout the personnel policy, it'll be full-time and eligible part-time?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it
I
also.
go
Like
with
that?
Because that defines it.
Yeah.
That defines it.
And then in section E, classify eligible part-time.
Yeah, eligible
The,
part-time.
the other thing you have to watch out for is that
Throughout
we
the
are
book,
a
they'll
New
be
Hampshire,
eligible
we are
part-time.
under the New Ham, this town's under the New Hampshire retirement system, and the statute's pretty clear that anybody part-time, whether they've ever been in the retirement system, retired or not, if they work over the 25 hours, and you compensate them for more than 25 hours in the pay period, then you're gonna turn around and come under scrutiny from the state.
Well, the part-time employees that we have now that fall under that definition
They
are,
can work up to 29 and a half hours if they
they
were prior
have
to when
set
the statute
schedules
changed.
every week. They
But
are here on their
If you
scheduled
have
day for
other
a certain
ones
number
that
of hours.
don't, you know, that you just hired some new part-timers, then you have that 25-hour maximum allowable rule,
Mm-hmm.
so, I mean.
Well, I think we just have to figure out what the hours are, that's all. It's just
yeah,
gonna
you have
figure
to
out
wa-
what
and
the hour
each-
clause is.
And each one
that's
is
all.
individual, I mean, and that's a hard,
It's those
that's a hard bookkeeping.
retirees.
And the retirees
trick
fall into
ones.
the same thing, both, it's the retirement system didn't,
Well, then maybe you
to
put
do
a,
it.
maybe you put a line in about the grandfather clause.
if they're hired after, prior to a certain date they are, if they're hired
Right.
after a date, they're not.
Yeah, they know.
And you
They're
have
not
to go
gonna lose
look-
their pension.
yeah.
Right, they're not gonna
Yeah.
lose it, and,
No.
but,
But I mean, just, that's one of the
concerned about that.
bookkeeping things you have to look at, or we
right,
end
if
up
there's
getting.
concern about that, then.
We end up paying for it somewhere down the road.
Yeah, as long as we don't take away, I don't agree with it, but as long as we don't take away from the 25-hour minimum, because that's what they have. I don't want anybody losing anything,
Right,
so.
right.
So anybody working less than 25
And
would
non-eligible.
be non-eligible.
Going back to the vacation time, I see the amendment you made was 21 plus years for 270, and the other one was 16 to 20 was 225 hours for accrued vacation, right? According to this.
Yeah, that was
Back-
for the part-time
Oh,
example.
that's for the
Part-time.
30 hours a week,
Well,
right?
Yeah, that's the
Example.
example.
Example, okay. And then for the other 40 hours, you were looking at 360. And are we gonna do that, or are we gonna follow like we talked about for the collective bargaining with the, under the collective bargaining agreement was for 16 plus years was 250 hours. Are we trying to keep it consistent all the way across the board, or? For vacation time?
What was 250?
Collective
Collective
bargaining.
Is that the new one or the old one?
Still the same, I don't think it changed on the
Thank
new
you.
or the old. This one was the one that was for March 31st, 2020, so I mean, I'm
be
looking
that
at it,
tonight.
and I think that's the same for the,
To go to sleep.
Thank you.
So have we been paying part-time help? Have we been giving them vacation time?
Yeah, because what's existing is your
Pro-
25 hours.
Yeah, it's
I don't
prorated.
agree with it, but
In the collective bargaining agreement, they get 250.
yeah, 16 plus years is up to 250. looking at 300. 300, and the other one was 240, 300 for 16 plus. I thought we were gonna try and keep that consistent.
Which one column are you looking at?
Well,
There's
the-
a maximum accrual is different.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at just as the actual accrual shall be,
Yeah, but that's
and that's under the
different.
collective bargaining. It doesn't say that the maximum, is, it just says that accrual
So
will
for
be
our 16 to 20, it's
16 plus years.
25 days.
It's 200
it's
hours.
200 hours.
It's 5 weeks.
No, the 16 to 20 is, yeah. It's 200 hours. Maybe I should make that clear.
Well, because I was looking at the personnel manual, what you hadn't read, the vacation leave. 11 to 15 was 20 days a year at 240 hours.
No, that's the maximum accrual. They can
More.
only carry over 1.5 times a year.
Okay, so what I'm looking at is what their accrual rate is, what you get for actual accrual shall be as follows, is what it says in the collective bargaining. That's what I'm looking at. You're saying the accrual rate, and I'm looking at this. And this says 250,
That's the maximum accrual.
okay? And we had a maximum accrual over here on the town personnel of 300,
Yep.
or, yeah, 360, actually.
That's 1.5 times. 360 is
but-
1.5
okay,
times.
but
So if
I-
you take 250 times 1.5, it's what?
Or 250.
Well, I was
Is that
looking
what
at-
they're getting?
It's 3.7, it's more than,
It's
if you
375.
take 250 hours times 1.5 for time it,
Well, I'm just looking at it
it's
that they,
375
Yeah.
maximum accrual
but
hours.
they're getting a maximum of 250.
Right,
Well, I'm just looking, at some point, we're
that's
gonna,
hours.
what we're gonna look at somewhere down the road is they're gonna come back at us, well, you guys are getting 300 and,
But that's,
360.
That-
It doesn't say what it is or isn't, it just says their accrual rate is at 200.
Anyways, yeah, so this is what they accrue their vacation time at? Yeah. Okay.
It's
And then if you read the next one, it says they can only carry over
One
1.5.
half.
which is 375 hours.
So they get 375, and you're gonna
It's a
bring
maximum accrual,
for 16 plus years. Okay,
correct.
so is that town, the regular town
That's why we
employees,
added one more step.
the 21
We're
plus?
still less, but
it's
we
still
added one
less.
more step.
I just want to make sure that we're going to be consistent with that, and somebody coming back and throw it back
Just
in our
saying.
face either
Yeah.
way.
No,
Okay.
Continuing on with vacation,
Yep,
page
sorry.
11.
page 11.
I do understand where Jack's coming from, so if it's
Sure,
okay.
go ahead.
Under the vacation leave, instead of days, I'm gonna change it to hours. Would that be easier?
Yes, it should be,
Yes.
most
Okay.
places accrue,
Because
by
we have
accrual
8-hour
hours.
employees, we have 10-hour employees, so
should
someone
be
could
hours of
ask for
accrual,
one. Okay, thank you.
Yes, very good.
All right, sorry, John. Page 11?
Page 11, all vacation leave must be taken in full-day increments.
Okay.
Civilian world, everybody can do half-days on those, and I'd like to see us do that too. That's my opinion.
I would agree.
I think it's a bookkeeping nightmare for whoever's got to keep track of it. I'd rather keep it at the full 8-hour.
The only thing I had on the full-day vacation was because it was my understanding that you could only take vacation and sick leave in full-day increments. That's why this town gave this personal day thing. So
What
if
happens if you
you,
use them all for for doctor's appointments? I have a half-hour appointment, I need to take a whole day off.
well, that's why they gave, in the personnel policy, they
Personal
gave you
time.
personnel
Personal
time,
time.
personal time, which is you can use 24 hours of your sick leave in hourly increments.
Yep.
Because I thought sick leave and vacation time had to be used in full days.
Right.
Somehow it left the personnel policy. I don't know when it did, but
I still think vacation ought to be done in half-days.
I'd rather
up
see-
to
I'd
half
rather
days,
see
or
it
they
less
have
than
to take a
full,
half
'cause
day?
Half-day
it's-
minimum, I'm sorry, half-day block,
Half day.
so,
That's what I would
The two
rather.
blocks would be a full day?
correct.
I
Yeah.
think, but
So
I
either
think-
4 or
Yeah, I
5
see.
hour, however, whatever that particular employee.
If it's not a
specifies.
nightmare,
I think leaving it at a whole day is also makes it, if it's an employee, makes it difficult on the department head if they have a project and he says, I'm taking a half day off, and then takes off, and then
well, no,
leaves
you
them
don't just
hanging.
take a half day, you
Well, I
have to
mean,
get
he's-
permission to get a half day, so it's
But I
up to
mean,
the
he's-
supervisor to,
It's
I
scheduled.
think it's up to the
Schedule.
supervisor to schedule it.
Schedule
It's
it.
scheduled.
I mean,
So if you wanted to
so-
come in till noon time because you were leaving early to beat the 93 traffic on a Friday, That's a half day.
Take a half day.
Or if you schedule, like you said, if you have a doctor's appointment, you schedule something else, a DMV appointment
Yeah.
for the afternoon. I mean, to me, I'd rather get half a
I'd
day's
take a
work
half
out
a
of
day.
somebody
Yep.
rather than losing
take a
that
half a
full,
day anyway.
full employee for
Yeah.
the whole day.
Okay.
You know, I think a half day definitely, I do, I prefer half days. I don't even take full days, honestly.
Wow, you get twice as many.
Exactly.
You get
Right.
twice as many.
Yeah.
Good thinking.
Oh, I'm just thinking from the other end of it,
Down that
the
road.
bookkeeping
Don't
on
go
the
down
back
that
end of
road.
it's a nightmare.
Don't go down that road.
Just
So are
saying,
we okay
half
on
days,
the-
twice as many.
Yeah.
You got highway department guys now that take half hour, an hour and a half, sick time, vacation time, so what's the difference?
To me, that's more of a disaster than half day.
Oh,
Yep.
Personal
At
time.
least half day, it's a half day of
Well, that's why that's why some of
It's
them
a
have
block.
personal time. You take the personal time and do it, you know.
Sherry, what do you think?
Well, you know, I was salary, so it didn't matter. I could come and go as I pleased. I mean, not abuse it, but, so it's hard. But with hourly people, most of the people that reported to me, which was quite a few, we allowed them to use a half day. But that was a big manufacturing, that's 1,200 people.
Yep.
I think the sick time would be a disaster to try and keep
1
track
hour,
of.
1 hour, 1 hour,
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 hours, I don't know.
So we're gonna move it from full day increments to half day increments? At least,
No, half day
No.
increment.
No less than,
no,
no less than?
No, it's
less
ha-
than a half day.
has to be taken
no,
in
it
half
has
day
to be in
increments.
half day
yeah,
increments.
no less than a half day. So you can't take an hour, or can't
So I gotta
take.
figure out what,
Well,
day
good
it
luck
is
to
to
you.
figure out
I
what
don't agree with
employee
it,
it
but it looks like the consensus
we have
is
4,
the-
9, 8, 10,
Yep.
24, yeah. Okay, also added to that paragraph was, it would be nice if the employees shall give his or her department head or supervisor at least a 24-hour notice prior to scheduling vacation leave.
Yes.
We added that just
Yeah.
so that
Put
we
it all
could
possible.
schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
again, if it's not in here, the employees can get away with it.
You scratched out, no employee shall be entitled to use vacation leave until the completion of their probationary period, or I did,
No, she didn't scratch it.
huh?
It's in green.
Well, it's got a line through it.
Yeah, because I put it up into the first paragraph because it
Yeah.
was a
Oh,
continue
okay.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, until, okay, I see that now. I was looking at the other one down below.
And it would be nice, well, it's expected to take vacation leave during the year, which is earned, because again, you only can have a maximum on books. What's the next thing, major change? Oh, the carryover, I guess. So right now, an employee, it states that at no time an employee have more than 1.5 times his or her annual accrual on the record. That is an accounting nightmare. So, if it's okay, vacation time cannot be carried over and accumulated beyond the maximum accrual amount. That is because at the end of the year, I have to figure out how much vacation time is on the books, because it's a liability. Because if everyone leaves the next day, this town is responsible to pay it. So at the end of the year, I gotta figure out what our accrual liability is. And the personnel policy right now, it states they can't have 1.5 time at the books at any point, which if I'm accruing in December, that means you have to use it before the end of the year. We have highway guys that are not really allowed to take vacation in November, and December, and I'm still accruing, but they can't take it, they're gonna lose it. So, instead of 1.5 times on the books at any time, it'd be nice if, at the end of the year, when I go to close the year, that's when I look at everyone's record, and if they have more than 1.5, boom, it's gone.
Yeah.
Are the employees
thought-
being warned if they're getting close?
They are.
I thought we,
And then sometimes they'll come to you, and you guys will allow them to carry
yeah, I
it.
thought we did that a few years ago, that we put that codicil
We
in.
did.
That,
We
yeah,
did.
they
So how
can't,
does this affect like highway?
that's it, take it or no, or lose it.
Like highway, they're not allowed to take vacation during the winter months.
Well,
they can't.
they can, it says in here, they can at the discretion of the,
There's a provision in here.
It's not encouraged.
and it's happened.
I took a week off one time, got burnt. I didn't, John did, because I was in Pittsburgh, and sunny up there, and kind of putting half snow down here.
That's right.
Nice.
But it happens,
That-
Nice.
That's where the
Oh.
no vacation and winter came from.
yeah.
So
Well,
it's
a
John's
lot of
fault.
places, they, anybody that has to do winter maintenance, they frown on it. They'll let you take a day here, a day there. They don't like giving you any much more, but it's on a need to know or need by need basis.
I'm sure when they're hired for that department, they are told.
Yep.
And yes, I did put that little paragraph in there for the highway department. So sick leave, the only change, is, again, I'll change everywhere where it says part-time, I'll change it to eligible part-time. But the accrual, the sick leave, accumulated to a maximum of 900 hours, that's on your,
The 900 was, again, collective bargaining is 900. The rest of the town is 720. 720, after 6 years, you don't ever accumulate another hour. After 8 years at the police department, you don't ever collect another hour. Again, it's really, I don't think, I mean, we've had employees that say they'll never get there and decide to, once they get a day, take a day, which I think is wrong. I mean, there's no reason to save it. There isn't, if your fear is payout, that accumulates later on upon retirement, but you have to stay 30-plus years to ever get it,
all of it, yeah.
to get all of it. Regardless if it's 720 or 900.
So all employees are up for 15 days per year, sick time?
You get 10 hours, a month.
That seems like a lot. Because I can tell you that they didn't give any sick time out.
The state was eligible for 15 days annual, 15 days sick,
Yeah.
Never.
a year.
So
And
we
you
just
could
did the
accumulate
10
up to
calendar
30 in
days and
one
took
and
out
up
the
to 900 in
days.
the
You
other,
just get
so.
10 hours. It accumulates depending on your hourly, but it's 10 hours per month.
Yeah.
So if somebody goes out for surgery, do they have to use their sick time up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, right now, the town does not offer short-term disability or long-term disability, so the employees really depend on that sick time.
Some of them buy Aflac,
Yep, some do.
so.
They can.
it's-
That's out of
buy
your own
Aflac.
pocket.
Yep,
Yep.
it comes out of your paycheck,
Yep.
so.
Yeah, because if you don't have any sick time, you still have the FMLA allows you to have 12 weeks of leave. And if you don't have any saved time, you're still allowed the 12 weeks, it's just you don't get paid.
What's short-term disability?
What the cost is?
Oh, we haven't looked at
We looked at that,
costs.
what, 3 years ago? And it was,
We offer it through Aflac, though.
On your own.
On your own.
If
Yeah.
I want to buy it for me, I can buy it for me. If I don't want to buy it
As a
for
town
me.
employee.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, just like dental.
Yep.
You can buy dental or don't buy dental. It's not something that you offer as a package, but it's something you can buy if you want to buy it.
Continuing on with this personal time at the end of that section,
Oh.
yeah, F. Again, going back to the using of personal time. We have full day or hourly increments. Again, I'd say go back to full day or half-day increments.
Are you on page 12?
well, personal time, well, again, never mind. The sick leave used to be only full day, and for some reason, it's no longer in the personnel policy. So first of all, for sick leave, what do you want to do? Full day, hourly increments?
Well, if they
half
get
day?
sick at work, then I'd still stick
I
with
think it should
half-day.
be
What if you get sick at work?
if you work a half a day, you can take a half a day sick.
But if you go in at 8 o'clock, or you're there for 8, and you walk out of there at 8:30,
You get a half a day.
they're gonna just take a half a day sick? You
You're
didn't
gonna
work
live,
half
And
a
then you can
day.
take a half a day vacation.
Yeah.
It's just,
I don't know, it's.
I mean, you didn't even work your full day, and you're only gonna get docked a half a day of sick time.
So we all start coughing at 8:15 a.m.?
I mean, that's what I'm saying, it gets to be a,
So what do you think on the sick, though? We'll go back to, we'll get to the sick, and then we'll get the personal.
Sick is fine for hourly. I still think personal time, though, again, personal time to me, again, where I'm coming from, vacation and personal time are pretty much synonymous, so to me, half-day increments.
I agree.
Sick time, valid point. If they get sick an hour into it, then that makes sense. I imagine it's probably a bit of a nightmare for you, but no? Okay.
Not at all. Okay, so vacation is half-day. Sick is hourly.
Yep,
Okay, so if I have a dentist appointment and I have to leave for an hour and a half, I take
2 hours or
sick?
an hour.
Do I take sick? Or do I take personal time?
It's up to you.
I'm not sick. I'm
Up
not
to
the
the
dentist.
policy.
You could take comp time for that
I
matter.
don't get comp time.
No, but I mean, if you have comp time, doesn't say you
I'm
should.
just trying to give you examples of what
Yeah.
we,
Of what comes
we are
across
asked
your desk.
constantly what we're asked. If I have a dentist appointment, it's gonna take 2 hours. That's why the personal time was put in here, was that people could use their sick leave in hourly increments for dentist appointments, for
So
eye
in other
doctor
words-
appointments. But again, it's
So is
necessary.
personal
take-
time different from sick time?
No, because actually personal time is your sick time.
So, okay, so then,
So in that case,
delete,
this is moot then. Okay.
delete the sick time, and the personal
Well-
time, and just delete the personal time, and just leave it all as sick time.
Yeah,
And
I'd
do
take,
it in
I'd take the
or
whole
vice
personal
versa.
time,
In the
right,
hourly,
I would,
take one of them right out of the
Yeah.
equation, from a name standpoint.
yeah, I'd take the personal and leave it as sick.
And everyone can use their hourly and sick,
Yeah.
sick time and hourly.
Okay, so
increments.
sick, but,
Slash personal.
see,
Put it
personal
under
was
symbol.
also the cable guys coming between 9 and 4.
But it still
That's
pulls
a
out of the
bad
same
example.
bank, doesn't
Between 9 and noon,
Comes
3
under the
hours.
It's on the
Same
same
bank.
bank, right?
Yeah, so what happens now is if you look at somebody's pay stub, they'll take their personal time and we run it in the negative until the end of the year so that you don't continue to give it back, take it, give it back, take it. You could take more than 24. So what Beth does, and tell me if I'm wrong, is we run it in the negative until you get to the end of the year. Then at the end of the year, she swoops it out of your sick. So now your sick doesn't have 720 anymore. It has 690 whatever. So then, but then it also, if you only use 15 hours of personal and you only take 15 hours of sick.
Why don't you just turn around and put it, just delete it, just put one topic, sick/personal, and then when they fill out the slip, they circle one or the other.
it's just personal.
Yeah.
Personal
Just
time.
personal time. Whether you're sick, whether you don't want to be here, whether you got an appointment, I don't care. Personal time off.
I don't,
That's what, Hilton hotels do, is PTO, everything,
everything's
Time off, yeah.
one bank. It's,
PTO.
It's PTO.
use it however
Yeah.
you want.
Yeah, I,
I've heard it called APL, annual paid
Yep.
leave. I've
yeah.
heard it called
but-
PTO.
But,
Earned
but
time.
sectoring it up like this is, to me, is just cumbersome. So I think it should be personal time off.
But we're gonna leave, as of right now, we're gonna leave vacation the way we've already discussed it.
Alone, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just combine sick,
Well, you'd have to.
There'll be no loss of hours,
correct.
just combining the verbiage.
Yeah.
You are gonna run a problem when we get to bonus days, but we'll get to that in a minute. So sick/personal.
Yeah.
Well, before we make that change, what's the problem we're gonna run into?
Okay, so bonus days are for non-exempt employees. If they do not take a sick day for 3 months consecutively, we give them a bonus day. Now you're saying personal days are sick days.
When do you all work?
A lot of places did away with
Why is
bonus.
this so convoluted?
Like I say, when do you all work?
A lot of places did away with the bonus
days
days,
off.
period. So, I mean, nobody,
Well, again, I don't wanna take away
They've got
from the
sick days.
employees.
They can use the sick days anytime they want, so why are we
Now
giving them a
personal-
bonus day?
why give them a
If
bonus?
you're not sick.
Right.
but you're
Then
gonna
you're
take,
here.
now it's not gonna be sick
For
time, it's
not
gonna be
taking a
personal
sick day,
time.
we're gonna give
Personal.
you a day.
So yeah, if I'm sick, I'm not taking a sick day. I'm gonna take a personal day or a day of vacation.
Yeah, so,
Just saying.
You think we should be rewarding people because they don't take a sick day?
Well, they use it if they don't.
Well,
It's actually the only item that gets paid out at the end of the year.
Right.
Everything else is forfeited. So some people do. It is
I'm
budgeted for
sure that
people.
people are taking it along during the year, right?
Yeah. So they hold on to those bonus days and they get paid out. It's the only thing that gets paid out.
That's why the personal time was for the appliance guy, the cable guy, the delivery man, whatever.
Yeah, I don't
It
care.
wasn't actually sick.
I,
it was a better way to track. it.
And then,
Yeah.
right,
because of bonus leave, I mean, then I take it back, my previous recommendation. I just think the whole thing needs a complete rework, though.
Well, no, I mean,
The public hearing.
to me, it's very cumbersome, putting all these together. I mean, I would get lost just as the employee of what I got on the books and what every freaking little catching
Well,
bag.
APL, PTO, whatever you want to call
I
it,
think
be
it,
so
yeah,
much easier.
and that's fine. Okay, so you want to call it a bonus day? You just got another 8 hours in your PTO bucket. There it is.
Yeah, they do it.
I mean, you can
but-
you can still follow the same, and you can still go see the cable man at 2 in the afternoon. I mean, it is what it is. It just take it out of that personal
But you're
bucket.
gonna, but you gotta look at it beyond just that one, because then you get this. Because now they're gonna come back, and that's gonna open up another whole can of worms with them and anybody else that's got a collective bargaining agreement, because they
Well,
write it up
They can
different.
collect it, they can change
And so
it.
now we're gonna have to start playing, and one of them's gonna start going against the other, and then we're gonna run into that.
What are we
that issue.
changing tonight? What are we changing? Are we changing the town personnel policy or the CBA?
They both reflect each other at certain points, and that's what we have to be concerned with. Because what's gonna happen, we're gonna end up with the lawyers coming back in, and we're gonna lose money on both ends, one way or the other. So, I mean, I think to get too far afield, and to go in, well, the
At
private
that point, why
sector's
don't we
this,
just
we're
make
not in
all
the
the
private
employees under
sector,
the
we're,
CBA and just be done with it?
we're in the government sector.
So why not just put every employee in and just make one CBA for every employee in town?
Well,
and just-
CBA is a union put forth document, and they're not in the union.
No, but your argument is we're gonna
My
make.
argument is
No,
that we're gonna end
you're-
up in a legal quagmire
You're
that's
saying
gonna
that
be worse.
this needs to mimic the CBA.
We,
I disagree
we
with
have
that.
to, because we're not inconsistent. That's part of the issue why
So
we're
why are we
revisiting
even
this.
bothering with this, and why don't we just stick with the CBA?
Because there's different things that are addressed in this for different employees
Because
other
we
than
don't
the
wear
police
uniforms.
officers. We don't, yeah.
That's covered in another
Well, we don't
section.
wear boots. We don't wear boots.
That's covered in another section.
Well, either that, when we accept it, then we accept it, it's for the whole town.
Keep it
It's
out.
their
I
personnel
understand the
policy.
frustration, but I
Yes.
think that, the bonus, some of this stuff goes way back,
Yeah.
honestly, years and years and years. And the bonus leave, I can say when I started, the bonus leave was 4 extra days that you could use as a reward for not being sick for the entire 12 months. And some days that's a good thing because, this is a short-staffed group. And if I had 2 people out sick and we're not conducting good business that way. So to keep someone here and I don't know how to roll it all together is what I'm just trying to think of how we could roll it all together.
Just get rid of
I
bonus
hear what
leave.
you're
Just
saying.
get rid of bonus leave and add an extra day to everybody.
A lot
Well,
of places that had bonus leave did that. They gave them 4 extra days.
Yeah, just get rid of it altogether. And then just automatically give it to them. That saves the accounting nightmare. That saves the issue of sick versus personal. And you just give
well,
it
you
to
could
them.
roll it into their sick time and not pay them out for it and then do away with it. And then they could use their sick time, but I'm just trying to, so right now, we're almost at the end. So right now, October 1st, if you haven't had a sick day, you're gonna get another 8 hours, okay? Because that's another quarter's gone by.
Mm-hmm.
So October 1st, if you've got 3 days, what are you saying?
me,
Rolling it into your sick/personal days, and then you're not paying anybody out.
To me, the way I read this is basically we're rewarding people for coming in sick.
I don't
No,
know.
you're rewarding people for not
Not
using
taking-
sick time for abusing sick time either, because some of them
If
will,
somebody's sick and they
This-
want that extra time,
and-
then they're just gonna come into work sick. They're not gonna use it and they can keep it.
and a lot of government agents, that's why they have that, they did that is because there were employees who would say, I wanna go to the Patriots game, I don't have that much leave time, so I'm gonna take a sick day and go to the Patriots game, and they said, well, we're gonna give you bonus days if you don't abuse your sick time and come in.
Or-
If you're sick, take it, but if you're not sick, don't abuse it, it's there. And so take the bonus day, or, if they paid you floating you can take a floating holiday, if you have the comp time, but save the sick time.
I say you just get rid of it and just add the 4 days into it and just get rid of G altogether. That's my opinion. I'm in the minority, but that's my opinion.
Big businesses didn't give out sick ever. We never.
And a lot of it is negotiated, so.
Well, it's not here.
I mean, when you're talking about a lot of it, some of it's
That's 3 weeks
negotiated with
That's
people.
an additional 3 weeks vacation if they
What?
want to pick away.
Take
day
4
here
days?
and a day there, and a long weekend here, and a long weekend there. That's just ends up being 3 more weeks of vacation for a lot of people.
I mean, they can only get,
I don't think I took more than 1 or 2.
4 days per, they get 4 days per,
Any given
they
year.
get 4 days per year, so that's not,
And it
they don't take any sick time. That's the maximum they could get, is 4 days a year. So, I mean, that's not gonna give them another 3 weeks.
No, but if they have 15 sick days and they take a day off here and a day off there throughout the year, they end up with 3 extra weeks vacation. That's really what you're giving them.
I mean,
Nobody's sick 15 days in a year,
well,
unless they have a medical problem.
yeah,
Have you ever heard of COVID-19?
right now they're paying 80,
Waiting for that one.
80 extra hours for people, and that's by
I
the
mean,
government.
we're hung up on this. I don't know how to solve it because it's a residual. You've got people with that bonus time. I don't,
It is
and you've
in
got
the
people that have
CBA.
used personal
Yeah.
time, so
I
I'm not
mean,
sure how you're
you
gonna roll it
can't-
all together.
Beth, how many employees, hourly employees, take off 15 sick days a year? I'm asking the question.
There's one that pops right into my head.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
a year, probably 2. Whether they're truthfully sick,
So you
they don't
have,
accrue bonus days, so it don't matter.
So that's eight
so what's
days
the
off payout.
average, what's the average amount of sick time that people take in a year, the average on all the employees? Is it 5 days a year, 10 days?
Well, here in this building, I don't think we've had one. Has anyone called in sick this whole year?
Nobody's afraid to.
But I mean,
Yeah, at the,
but I mean, you're gonna look at it, you know, you're gonna look at that, it's
Yeah,
case
I don't
by
think we've
case. I
had
mean,
one
you're
since.
gonna look at somebody
tenure of
and
the
you go out
employees in town?
and get injured. You break, you break a limb, you're out for at
Average,
least
approximate.
3 weeks,
Right
maybe
now, probably
longer,
about-
a month.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
So I mean, there goes your
that's-
15 days is
Yeah,
gone.
that's what I'm saying. Maybe we should have.
we have some up
short-term.
here and we have
But
some
they,
down here.
well, I mean,
But short-term disability would be somebody that really got hurt.
and
It
then,
would
you
be
know,
somebody that
and that's gonna
had
put
the flu
another
bug for
thing in,
2
it's gonna
days.
be something else in the budget, because that's gonna have to come out of somewhere.
So, I just asked Beth, what is the average tenure, if you will, of the employees in this town? And her answer was approximately 8. That's off the top of her head. So basically 8 full-time, 8 years if you're full-time, you're getting a total of 31 days off a year if you accrue all 4 bonus days. That's a hell of a lot for 8. For 8
Yeah, but you
years.
can only, you can't take the bonus days, they don't accrue. If, they go to the end of the year and that's it. You're not gonna accrue those 4 bonus days every
Bonus days
year.
are paid out
Yeah,
at the end of the year.
You only get 4 days a year. You're not gonna accrue them,
No, but on top of the vacation, on top of the 6/personal time or whatever we're calling it, that's still 31 total days available to that employee.
yeah,
With-
and if they accrued it and they earned it, then let them take it. I mean, I worked for, and I used to get 15 days a month. I saved it, and I used to take a day here, a day there, or I'd take a comp day, but then the other time, I used to take a month off and go to Florida. Why are you begrudging them the time that they earn? That's the point. If they earn that time, and that's their vacation, so what? I mean, in private sector, you get salaried employees, they don't have vacation, they just take whatever time they want and they go, and they still get paid for it.
Again, I've voiced my concern on this. Let's move on. We're done. I'm done beating this dead horse.
I mean, they're still getting their paycheck every month, or every day.
But what are we gonna do?
Yeah, what's the
We
dead
can't
horse?
just stop the discussion. I know we've beat the dead horse and now we've got Elmer's glue, but
So
let's,
what was rolled around was either sick leave / personal, and we're gonna roll in the 32 hours into that and get rid of bonus, or we're gonna leave it the way it is.
cause see, what's happened now is you've got some already in the pay stubs in the negative for personal time. You've got some people that have accumulated bonus days, which is in the positive. Then you've got some that, I mean, you roll them together, I guess, as long as no one's gonna be at 720, because that's your accumulation factor. And do away with, personal and bonus. I mean, I'm just trying to be fair. Nobody's losing anything.
No.
Because you've got some negative that have already been used for personal time. You've got some positives of the bonus days that have not been used, anticipating to be paid out. So if you take the positives, negatives for each person and roll it together, maybe?
Let me ask you this, Beth. If
We
you,
definitely don't wanna change all, things right in the middle of the year.
No, it'd have to be at
Right.
year end.
Yeah.
right,
Agreed.
year end.
Yeah.
Yep.
But how hard would it be on a pay stub to put vacation, PTO, and bonus?
You know,
I'm just asking, how hard would it be?
It's on there now.
it's on the.
Okay, so put the bonus at 0, not a negative, put it at 0. You make it 3 months, then put 10 there as available, or 8 or whatever is available. And then they make another, they go 6 months without being ill. Now they've got 16 hours available to them on the bonus line, no negative. Now they say, I want to take all my bonus days. Now it shows you used 8, you have 8 left, and then an amount that was used, right?
That's what they do.
Okay.
That's
And
what
then
they're
your
doing.
PTO, if you want to take sick or personal time, then it comes out of that bank. I guess,
That's what they
to
do.
me, it just doesn't,
That's what most places do. They do it now in their check. It shows
Right.
in their pay stub.
right. Well, I understand that, and that's where I'm having a hard time understanding of why we're running things in the negative, et cetera.
Well, because what they do is they do a negative, and at the end of the year, they total it up and then pay it out. And it's basically an accounting thing that she
I
does.
still don't understand that.
Well, she does it as an accounting thing.
I still don't understand running a negative.
Look at the middle of that stub, right down the, right there.
It's all on there.
Yeah, it tells you what it's all on.
And everybody watches it pretty closely.
Oh, yeah.
I bet.
No, I mean, I used to look at mine constantly, how much leave time I had, how much sick time I had, how much bonus time, how much comp time. Because I know some of it, the bonus time, if I didn't take it, I lost it. And then you had floating holidays. If I didn't take those, I lost them. You know, and
Okay.
It's pretty explanatory on
yeah.
there.
So
It
they're
sounds
not losing
confusing.
anything. But I mean, you know, what's the difference if they've got 31 extra days or they got another 3 weeks added into their thing because you're combining that time that they've earned? What difference does it make? They're going to get it one way or the other. I mean, this is what they've earned, so you got to give them what they earned. If you don't give it to them, they earned, then you're gonna
I'm
end up.
not
in
saying
a
we take anything
So
away, Jack. I'm
it's
just
sick
saying we're
leave
trying
and
to.
personal, and if they don't use sick leave and personal, we still do the bonus?
Yeah,
All right,
sick,
so we're gonna get
annual
rid-
vacation and personal.
Because you
yeah.
guys made sick hourly, personal is out the, I mean, the only purpose of personal now is to track the bonus.
So personal goes by the wayside, so let's take that away.
Yeah, that's fine, we can
That's
take that
gone.
away.
Yeah.
So now you're down to bonus, sick.
And we can still do the bonus
Vacation,
based
yeah.
on
Okay.
sick leave, personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just.
Slick dev slash personal. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll mull it over.
It's thick. Did we, and I hate to ride a dead horse more than we already are here, but
Giddy up.
I know, right? I'm slapping the reins, but there's nobody home.
Boss has been beaten to death,
Yeah.
he's dead.
It's called
know.
animal
You're gonna get a
cruelty.
bottle of glue when you
Easy
get
on what you
home.
say. It'll be transcribed here in a minute.
Oh, animal
Anyways,
cruelty now.
So
Like our
did,
residents?
did we decide? Yes. No, that wasn't transcribed, unfortunately. So did we decide on the amended for sick leave accumulation? I don't feel as we ever decided that. Maybe we did and I missed it.
Oh, the
720
720 to go to
900.
900.
900.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did we decide? I don't.
Yeah, I
remember.
thought we did. 900.
I don't remember us agreeing or
Well.
disagreeing.
I didn't hear one way or the other, I think.
I
we
didn't
just
either.
moved.
That's what I'm saying.
No, did I.
I don't have a check mark, so.
Yeah.
That's why before we leave it, I just wanted to verify.
Before we leave
Oh, we should leave it equal all the way across the
Pun
board. So if
intended.
it's 900, it should be 900.
Huh?
I think it should be 900 right across the board. Instead of 720, it's 900. That way, everybody's on the same page accruing that sick time. It's 900 hours, maximum.
You still, the concern is probably on payout, right?
Payout, when, at the end of somebody, when they were.
But they only get a percentage of it. They don't get the
Only
total amount.
Do it at retirement. Retirement age is described and the amount of years of service is
Service,
described.
and you get the
You have to have
percentage.
31 plus years to get 100% of it.
Yep.
Well, that's gonna be you.
Not at this rate.
20, but if you don't have 20 to 25 years, you don't get any of it?
No, you get
Nada.
that percentage.
Okay.
You get a percentage
You
of
gotta
it.
stay 20 years to get anything.
20 to 25, you get 50%.
Yeah,
26 to 30, you get 75. 31 plus, you get 100.
If you stay 19 years, you get 0.
Yeah.
720, 900, that's a lot of weeks.
720 is 90 days.
90 days.
So if you have an ill parent,
3
or if you have
months.
surgery, or if you have, it covers your FMLA is what it does.
Okay.
So that you, but that's something that you've saved yourself in case somebody's ill. That's just, the 900 came from, you know where, I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's not gonna be 720. It's going
Well,
to,
that's what
We don't know
somebody
yet.
asked.
Oh.
We're still waiting.
That's what I'm asking, is, do we make a decision?
John? John?
I agree with keeping it equal.
I don't have an opinion either way.
I mean, the other one's 900, to keep it at, yeah, to bring it to
think it-
900.
Ricky?
No opinion.
Sherry?
I think it all should be done the same. If one group gets 900, then they all should get 900. Just don't think we should be showing favoritism to one group and not
Sliding the other, yeah.
sliding the other. I think that's been done for a long time.
And I
It
think
needs to
that's,
stop.
you know, eventually it's gonna come back and cost us a lot more.
So, I have a hypothetical question.
Sure.
So the CBA changes at the end of their term.
And we hold it the same way as what everybody else in the.
So we instantly change, every time there's a new CBA agreement?
Well,
it
then
changes,
what it
we
is you've
change
gotta
the town
reflect,
personnel policy?
no, you gotta reflect what the personnel policy is and hold their feet to the fire on the other one.
That wasn't the answer to my question. My question was, every
No.
time there's a CBA
No.
adjustment, are we going to adjust the
No,
town
we'll
policy to
follow the
reflect it?
town, follow the town policy, and if the town policy says 900 and they want 1,000, well, no, you're gonna get 900.
Okay.
That's called negotiation in the CBA.
Okay. I don't know if it's gonna work that way, but
Well,
I'll take your word for it.
yeah, that's the way I think it should work, you know, you can't keep,
Are we checking it? Are we,
I think it should
Was
be
that a-
stayed. I think it should be,
that's a no opinion.
No opinion.
I know he's always shaking his head.
I want to move on,
Okay.
is what I want.
Okay. How would you like to move backwards?
I'd like to go to H, actually.
Well,
I'd like to go to E.
are we gonna make a decision or no?
Was it
what's the
consensus? What's the
yeah,
consensus?
I said 900.
We have to make a decision on it. Can't just keep
We
leaving
had,
it.
we had
John?
3 for
Three
900.
for 900.
Okay, then there it is.
I just want to go back really quick. I think I skipped over something really important in vacation. The personnel policy, the way it stands today, is if an employee leaves tomorrow, such as I, we walk away with nothing. We don't get any of our earned time. Of course, the sick time, we know we're not going to get until we're here 20 years. But vacation time, it's gone. So employees walk,
You haven't taken any vacation time?
no, if I leave tomorrow,
And you left tomorrow and you hadn't taken vacation day
She
at
gets
all?
nothing.
it's forfeited.
It's forfeited.
Yeah.
That's,
It is the only earned time that really the employees have. So there is, and I'm sorry I skipped over it. So I put in there a clause that an employee will not be paid accrued unused vacation leave pay upon termination from employment unless the employee has been employed for at least 6 months prior to the termination.
yeah.
And in the event of a resignation or retirement, the employee has to give a 2 weeks' notice.
Where was this?
Where is that?
It's
Page
up,
11?
In the
it's-
middle.
Yeah,
In the middle.
Right,
I
that
would,
section.
I would add a line to it that if the employee is,
Okay.
11.
leaves prior to the 6 months on his own, but if he leaves due to a work-related injury that he's now no longer able to work, I think that they should give him the time that he would have accrued for that year.
I think you're talking two different things.
Why? If he's out
If
for 6
some-
months, if he's in his 6 months, it says outside of his probation, and he's working, and say he's got time, but he can't take it till after his 6 months. He's accruing time, but he can't take it till
Then he
after his
gets hurt.
probation.
He
is-
gets hurt.
And he gets hurt before his 6 months probation off, and he's no longer able to work. Say, he gets his arm chopped off in the chipper, God forbid, or something like that.
Oh, my God.
You know, he's gonna go out, he's not gonna be able to be employed, but any benefit that he has.
He's gonna go out, he'll receive workers'
It's
comp.
comp, but does he get?
And then at the
is
end
he
of
gonna
6
get-
months, he can use the little bit of
Well,
time
he
that
may
he's
go out on
earned.
he may go out on a retirement that you
Well,
pay
you
for,
want a
that's,
disability
as far as.
Take you
the
6
work-
months to get paperwork.
5.5 months,
Yeah,
you can't come back to work.
yep.
Give him the 6 months
I'd
vacation.
make sure that he
Okay,
gets his,
if we're gonna go with that, the only thing I would recommend changing
Let's change
is
it.
the verbiage, because it says you have to
Yep.
be just employed. If I'm on workman's comp for 4 out of those 6 months, I'm still employed,
that's right.
but I'm not working, so I think we need to change that to
But
actually
if you
be
got
working.
hurt here,
Yep,
you're our problem for 18 months.
At least.
Yeah, Cobra, right?
No, you're our problem for 18 months.
for
We have to
workers'
hold your
comp.
position for workers' comp.
Yeah,
So you're gonna get by the 6 months.
okay, that's why, well, I wanna
So-
make sure that
And then you probably
somebody's,
can then ask to subsidize, because you get 60% of a pay.
yeah, you're gonna get 60%
Then
of your
you can
retirement.
ask to subsidize the
What your retirement
40%
is.
with your time that's earned.
And if that's the case, if we were gonna go with Jack's theory, you need to change the top paragraph in the green. Because that right there is pretty black and white that says you're not gonna get any vacation pay until you reach the probation, the end of the
probationary
probationary period.
But
But
you wouldn't.
Right, but now we're saying if there was an injury, you would.
No, because he's gonna keep him for 18 months, they're gonna be on the payroll for it.
Right.
So you
He's
get.
gonna, he's
Right.
gonna make
So
So
you
he'll
have
get
to
it.
wait your
Okay,
6
so I
months.
wanted to make
If you
sure
got
that
hurt,
somebody
you have to
didn't-
wait your 6 months to start drawing your 40%
Oh, okay,
off.
yep, that's fine.
Okay, but if somebody resigns. Beth
Quit, yeah,
Comes in
goodbye.
tomorrow and
Or gets
says, I'm all
fired."
done, I'm giving my notice. And she's got 4 weeks of vacation,
Yep.
just for an example.
Currently it's
Are we
zero.
gonna prorate her and now she's halfway through the year, she'll get 2 weeks vacation when she leaves? Are you giving her nothing? Because right now you'd get nothing.
Nothing. It should be the day of your resignation, whatever your balance is on the
Balance
books.
is you get a percentage. So
You
if
get-
it's
I would agree with that.
8 months,
that?
you get
Yep.
80% of your, not 80.
You
but
get how
your-
much
your-
you've accrued for the
No,
year.
no, because that's not
You're
how it works.
accruing every
You
month.
have an accrual bank.
Every
So
month.
what you've accrued to the time you
To that
leave is
time.
yours.
To that day
Yeah,
of
we don't get
leave.
front-loaded
No, we don't front
yeah.
load.
through monthly.
That's one of the things we didn't do, we cut the
We
front loading
stopped
out
front
because
loading.
somebody
Right.
else was getting front loaded.
Right, so you take that front loading out, so whatever's in your bucket
Bucket.
the day of
Yes.
It's what you
is
get
what
paid
you're,
out.
is what you're
Provided
you're
you've been
entitled
here
to.
6
That's
months.
vacation,
Yeah.
right,
And
Correct, but whatever's in
And that
in
you
your
provide 2
vacation
weeks'
bucket
notice.
is what you're entitled to.
Yeah.
right.
Don't get
So-
the buckets confused.
But we don't get that.
There's
You
too many
don't-
buckets,
That doesn't
still.
happen now, but
No,
I
it does
think
not.
that should.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think you should get,
So, just so I'm clear, so the resignation's given, the vacation bucket it will be available. The sick leave will not be available.
Never is.
Bonus will not be available.
No,
Unless you're way out in
No, I
in
think
years.
it's only vacation.
No.
no, only vacation,
The floater possibly.
floater holiday.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Okay.
You might have one floater.
No, I don't pay floaters
Yeah,
are
floaters
forfeited.
you lose.
Oh,
Yeah.
they forfeited, yeah.
get
Okay.
10 hours a month,
Just the
so
only
if
thing
you're
you walk
here
away
8
with.
months, you get 80.
No,
you
no,
get
no,
80
you're-
hours
you've
of-
got,
of
you've got
vacation.
sick leave on your mind
Okay.
at 10 hours.
So now,
No, this is a queued rate.
Oh,
This-
okay, sorry.
so now you have 240 in your vacation bucket and you get terminated. What do you get?
240.
So we terminate you and we still give you your vacation.
Yep,
You've accrued it and never taken it.
yep, you get paid for
You've
it.
earned that time.
It's
You
important
earned
time.
that time.
Even though we.
Yes, you
determined-
earned that time.
Now, if we front-loaded it, that'd be a whole different story.
front-loaded,
But if
you
you
get the whole
actually,
thing.
if they actually earn it through time, you can't take it from them.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I think that's a law.
It is. Every place, if you earn it, you gotta pay him that. You don't have to pay him the sick time. But it could be the other one too. You could end up, if you say you front-loaded it, yeah, you may be paying him.
But they've earned that, that
Accrued
time.
up to that, but if you
Moving on to
front-loaded the
H.
whole thing, guess what?
No.
Was that okay?
You're gonna, you
Was that
may be on the
paragraph
hook
okay?
for the whole thing.
It's a check mark.
All right, we got check
H.
marks?
Moving on to H.
Bereavement, yes.
First paragraph, extra time will be charged to any existing vacation, comp time, or bonus leave. Can we add in personal time to that?
Thought we just got rid of personal time.
No,
Bereavement?
we didn't.
I have an extra it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We
I have
took-
an extra it and
we
called
changed
it sick time.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's
personal.
all sick time.
Okay.
So bereavement leave,
Verbiage wise, I think it'd be, I think, oh boy. I think verbiage wise, it'd be better to be call it personal time instead of sick time, but that's just me.
so which one are we on, H?
I don't know. No, H is good.
Okay.
Do we want to add sick time though?
H, you can put a check in. We're good.
We're good?
Yeah,
I
military
would-
leave, yeah, we can't do much with that.
Aye, aye.
Okay, J, it's all.
Yep,
All.
that's done.
Okay, inclement weather, I don't know, we might want to include, hold on. Employees are not allowed to work from home in lieu of reporting to work during inclement weather. Roads are bad, yeah, still gotta come to work.
Too bad.
Or,
Go to work.
Take a
You use your
vacation day or use time, yeah.
I can't say I'm gonna
That's
stay in my
fine.
pajamas and get paid
I
for
don't
it.
think,
Can we go backwards to J? God, I hate doing this.
Oh, no, I don't want to go there, because I've already talked about that with you tonight.
I know, J.
Jury
All
duty?
employees selected for
Yes.
jury duty?
Why are we doing all employees,
because all employees are eligible
They're
to
all
be
eligible
selected
for-
for jury
including
duty.
seasonals and?
Yes.
We're gonna
Not
pay,
anybody.
we're gonna pay a seasonal or
If he's,
part-time
if he's
employee.
working, you're gonna pay him.
Typically, your seasonals are
Yep.
your.
If it's a part-time employee and
Yeah.
and he's working,
Typically, but we had an example this year of a retiree that was a seasonal, so we can't go based off of that.
You're gonna, all right, so you're gonna pay your.
but if he's
your
scheduled to
per
work
diem
and he gets
call
called
members
for
too?
jury duty, he's already on
For
a
jury
schedule, then guess what? You gotta
And
pay
what-
I was
him.
gonna say,
What are we
how
gonna-
much advance notice do you get to be on jury duty?
I got 1
No,
month.
you'll get it a month.
You get 'em
Enough
on-
time for your supervisor to not schedule you.
But,
But this says you still have to pay them.
yeah,
Right.
and I think
So-
some of that comes under the law too.
So you're
All
gonna,
employees selected
Yeah,
for
that's
duty
a-
for,
that's
will
a
be paid
law.
straight time during their jury
so you're
duty
gonna,
pay.
you're gonna pay call and per diem employees as well?
I get what you're saying
Yeah,
there.
we need
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
I'd,
How do you want it?
I'd research that one legally
Yeah.
before you'd go too far with it.
If you wanna pay me my rate to go to jury duty, when do I get picked?
Well,
you
we're
get-
gonna pay you, and then all your other
Because you're not
employers are
gonna
gonna
get
pay you.
paid, you're gonna get paid like $10 a day from the jury, so I mean, that's.
Yeah,
paid
but,
from
but
the
the way this
jury.
is written, you guys are gonna pay me to go.
Right, well, how else, yeah, but you're also gonna get money from the court, and they gotta make, what happens is you end up getting the difference. You don't get the full one or the other, you
Oh,
get
so
the.
what you're saying, Jack, is correct, but that's not what this says. That's
The way
I
that this
think
is
you
written
have to
is
look
I'm
at-
gonna get paid my
Newsflash, you
hourly
don't
rate
get
to
paid.
go to
Huh?
jury.
Newsflash, you don't get paid.
Well,
Yeah,
I never got
I
paid.
did.
What, the
with Merrimack
jury?
County, at least. They gave me a $10 check.
No, if you're a government employee, you do not get paid, you get your mileage. I was all excited, I opened my check and I got $20 for 2 weeks.
it depends.
So what it should say is all employees who are scheduled to work?
Who, I would say all employees serving,
would-
serving on a jury on their normal scheduled shift will be compensated at their normal rate, or something to that
Yep,
effect.
okay.
I say we look the law up first.
I'd say, yeah, you better look at the law, because if we cut that one way or the other.
I know that anybody that was on, that was called for jury duty, they were paid their regular pay. I was.
Well, that makes sense, but we have employees that have 3 employers. Which employer's gonna pay that person?
Yeah, they can't be double dipping. and
Well,
triple
I know that I get selected for the jury, I still work for the state, and I get turned around, and they said I had to take vacation time
dipping For the state?
from the state
Yeah, but when
to
was
go
that,
to,
Jack?
it's just not that many years ago, I mean, 20 years ago, just before I retired, and it's, that, the law has not changed, because they now can take cops, the only ones they can't take are lawyers, on the, which is crazy,
Well,
but,
I
but they
say-
could, but they had to
I
pay.
say we
you
look
to-
into it.
I say we look
And then
into
pay
it.
your mileage, but you had to take vacation time to get paid, and then they paid you a $10 check or $15
Say
check
we
for
look
the
into
day.
it.
But, I mean, you gotta look into it, because it changes,
Yeah.
and we don't wanna shortchange somebody or end up in a thing where it says we should be paying them.
No, we also don't wanna pay someone that we.
And we don't wanna pay somebody if they're
Exactly,
not,
that's-
but they don't get compensated that well anymore to go down and sit in the jury box.
Because a good example is we'll use, and I don't want to pick on the transfer station, but say we have a transfer station employee that only works Saturdays. Are we going to pay them, based off of the letter of this, we would pay them while they're at jury duty? If they're only a Saturday
Wait,
employee.
only
this is written.
Yeah,
Saturday
but
morning.
that's,
I understand that's not the intent.
That's not the intent, but that's the way it's written.
Yep.
That's the way it's written, and that could be fought.
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
that needs to get,
so that has to be
Changed.
clarified, like I said, with the
Okay, the other,
shouldn't
going
be all
forward,
employees, should be all full-time.
administrative leave.
K1, the only other thing was employees that work for the Department of Public Works are exempt from the inclement weather.
Yep.
Obviously, it's their job. Leave without pay, I just wrote 12 months, that's good. How about tuition reimbursement? All employees? It used to just say employees. I just wanted to
Yep.
clarify all.
Yeah, should be,
We'll have to go with a job-related course.
yep.
And they have, it's a reimbursement if they want to put the money out. Yeah.
Expense reimbursement, that's easy, it's everyone.
Yep.
Separation, oh, it used to say separation for employment. Change that one to from.
So, that's,
Before we get past expense reimbursement.
Yep.
Can we bring the meals numbers actually up to viable standards.
Well, is there a standard? Isn't there a standard?
There is a standard
Is there?
here for that.
Yeah.
There's a,
Isn't it by the IRS, isn't it?
yeah, it's actually something by, like, if
Oh,
you go to-
region.
If you go to a conference and you're down somewhere, the reimbursement in that region's X amount, I can't remember.
Yeah,
Actually,
it's based on regions.
Yeah.
and I hate to say this, I don't wanna rub it, but the police will, sometimes there's a chart you can pull up for what area you're gonna be in a conference and what
Yep.
you get for
Some of them,
reimbursement.
they base it on so much if you're in-state, if you're in-state travel, having expense
But I think
reimbursement.
there's-
If you
I
go
think
out of
there's a
state, it
chart,
doubles
Beth.
it,
Yeah,
so.
it's regional.
I mean, because for breakfast, you get a cup of coffee for $2.50 now, so there's half your breakfast line.
Yeah.
So I just,
One sandwich is $4.
Yeah.
right, so I just think
Even
that
McDonald's.
those numbers
Yeah.
are not with the time.
Probably,
So if we can find what Naomi's talking about, I know what she's talking about, because
Yeah.
we've gone down that
Changes,
road.
but you might be able
It
to
changes per
say it.
region,
Yeah.
but if we could reflect that.
Find a
there.
standard the IRS has, and you may, there's a general
Just
standard.
reference that
A reference,
IRS
a
document.
standard, and
well, I
The other,
think, like,
the other thing, can we also put in, receipts somewhere in there?
yeah,
It says upon submittal of receipts.
yeah, it says
Yeah.
receipts there,
Yeah, after the $15.
excluding alcohol.
upon submitted receipts excluding alcohol. Yep.
Okay.
Probably ought to be other things we exclude too.
What, cigarettes?
Sure, yeah, that's one.
Well, I mean, this is meals. See, that doesn't have anything.
That's all
about it.
eating meals.
It's just meals, not,
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Ricky, you talking about condiments?
Yes, condiments.
That's what he's saying.
Yep.
Not me.
Wow, look at that shade of red.
Moving on.
Okay, so we'll go down to resignation. I don't like where it says BOS, so I just changed that to Board of Selectmen. I did include the employee may not use sick leave following submission of their resignation unless a certification form from a healthcare provider advising the validity of such absence.
I would agree.
Thank
Yep.
you.
That's because, you know how that works, right? You wanna give you 2 weeks' notice, but you wanna use the time because you're not getting paid for it.
so you take the sick
Take
time.
4 days off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, the effective date, First month in 30 days. Okay, so I guess it's retirement. What changes did we make there? I just explained to the employee what their retirement is. The percentages of the employee's gross earnings are deducted weekly from the employee's paycheck and are submitted monthly to the New Hampshire retirement system by the town. The town submits at the same time a percentage towards each employee's retirement plan. Each group's percentages are set by the state and are available in the finance office. And then upon termination of employment from the town, forms provided by the New Hampshire retirement system are available from the finance office or online. It's just if someone wants to go to this personnel policy for reference, I'm planning on retiring, what do I need to do? Let's get it in.
Upon termination or upon leaving employment? Because termination, to me,
Yeah,
sounds
they're
like
fired.
you're fired.
Yeah.
Well, termination
Termination's
in the
defined.
definitions.
Severance of employment?
Yep.
Something like that.
No, that's how it's defined.
We don't have it
Termination.
in the definitions.
No, we don't have
Well, okay.
it. We used to have termination because it can be voluntary and
Oh,
non-voluntary.
yeah, it is, it's E. So when you guys see this again, it'll all be different, it'll be alphabetically, like it's supposed to be.
Yeah, termination shall be voluntary or involuntary.
Severance of the employment with the town.
Yep.
Okay.
Moving right along. Do-do-do.
We used to have cash in there? We had a cash stipend?
Hand it over.
It said cash.
Oh my
I don't
god,
pay
medical
cash.
opt-out, you receive
Was
a
there?
cash stipend.
C, under retirement benefits.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know who put that in.
That's funny.
That's gone.
What they do, right? If two
They
people.
receive a stipend, not cash.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank God nobody ever called us out for that, huh?
I know. Can you imagine the stuff in here? So for uniform allowance, I did add a section, but we'll get to that shortly. It still says the same, that the town uniforms have to be supplied and maintained by the town if they're required. Longevity, we did add, 3 more layers, or levels. 25 to 29, these are paid out annually in April. So 25 to 29 years, it's a $1,000 longevity bonus. If you're here 30 to 34 years, it's a $1,250 annual longevity bonus. And if you're here 35 plus years, you get $1,500 longevity bonus. Discussion?
Who is the closest to attaining the highest?
You're looking at her.
Right here.
How many years you been here?
25.
I'm working on 26 right now. I'm not staying till 40, if that's what you're asking.
No, I'm just asking. I don't know.
No comments? Discussion? Okay.
Food allowance, we lost along the last revision, didn't we? Food allowance, we've always paid for the food allowance.
Oh,
but
yeah,
we've
the food
never-
allowance was in the CBA for the
that's what it was.
DBW.
Yep.
We do have a steel toe boot policy
Yes.
Right,
that's shredded. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
yeah, no steel toes. So if an employee is required to wear a safety toe boot or a particular type of shoe as a condition of employment, the town will provide a safety shoe boot allowance of $250 per employee per year. We've always done that.
Can we get a receipt on that as well?
Yep. they
Yeah,
usually
oh,
do.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah, they have to.
It's reimbursement.
Yeah, they have to buy it and get the receipt.
Yep.
So if they go out and buy a pair for $200.
And most places have to show the receipt shows that it's a safety
Well,
toe,
that's-
meets the ANSA
Well, sometimes
standards.
it's, you'll see the invoice,
But they'll
it's
buy-
$300, the employee paid $50 of their own town's.
Yeah, but you'll look at it, make sure
Yes,
that it's
that's what I make
buying,
sure that's
buying work
that's
boots
clear
and
as
not
mud,
buying
that's
dress
all.
shoes. Some of them were buying sneakers and dress shoes under the
Also
allowance.
in the memo column of the check, it's the employee's name, so usually Joe will come in around October and say, where are my guys? You know, where do they stand? Who-
No, I
who needs
just
to
wanna
get
make sure
boots?
it's clear as mud, that's all.
And then we already talked about there is no short-term disability from the
Can
town.
we reword that? We do offer it through Aflac for employee paid. Can we
that's-
reword that to say the town does not offer
Can we
No, 'cause
spell
that's
short?
optional.
town paid?
Yeah, the only thing
Can we
I-
spell short right?
No,
Sure.
But Aflac is not a short-term, that's something the employee
Sure.
can opt to sign up for. We don't have any involvement in it. They just.
See,
introduce-
and what if we change Aflac? I guess, we're just saying that the town currently doesn't offer. Because when somebody does come in, we do explain the Delta Dental, the Aflac, you know, because that's what we have going right now.
Well, in a way, you do offer it. It's just not the town's not footing the bill for it.
Right, and that's why it says the town does not
You can't put it in
offer.
the personnel policy that we don't offer it. We're just giving them avenues
Actually,
to
do
go
you not
look
pay
at.
for? No, offer. Because it's really a personal offer.
It's, yeah, I mean,
We don't offer it.
The way I would understand this is that you can't get short-term disability if you work here.
yeah, they don't offer it. It's not.
No, the
it's not-
town doesn't, the town doesn't pay for it.
You can get
but
it.
But you can get it through the town, through Aflac if you pay for it yourself.
So what if you say the town does not pay for it?
so we'll use
Short-term
the
is-
same
how about
verbiage as the
short-term?
dental. Dental insurance is available, but at the expense of the
Yeah,
employee.
there we go. There you
Same
go.
thing?
Yeah, for both,
Yeah.
yeah.
There, or put
No,
in
that makes
another one
weird. I was
under
like,
K,
Aflac
put
then.
another one, there are insurances available at the
It's
expense
just
of the
like she
employee.
said, the Delta Dental.
I like
says it.
the
Yeah.
dental description for that.
Now, do we get long-term offered through Aflac also?
Yep.
Okay, so same verbiage for that then?
I haven't listened to the spiel, so.
And then if we ever do drop Aflac, then we modify the
Do
policy.
we offer in this
Probably
life
won't write
insurance?
Aflac.
I wouldn't put
Outside
Aflac,
vendor?
just, who knows what the
Could be a
vendors are.
vendor, outside
Any
vendor.
vendor.
I mean, there's,
Third party.
I mean,
Yeah,
you,
just, I like third party.
Third
you could go to New York Life and get a short-term disability policy or a long-term disability. Each insurance company even offers that,
Do we have this life insurance? We provide $10,000, which is nothing, because it just about cover the funeral if they get killed.
That's it.
Do we offer them to pay for more than that for
Additional.
life insurance?
Aflac.
Aflac,
I have Colonial,
I've got that, I've got that.
Third-party vendor.
yeah, it's a third party vendor. Yeah.
Still paying for it.
Oh, and there's the life insurance, okay. And and it's only for full-time employees. Obviously, the Board of Selectmen has the right to choose the carrier and to amend its policy.
Uniforms.
Um,
Somewhere along the line, I can't remember, they could not be worn into a place
Yeah.
that served alcohol.
Yeah.
That's further in the.
It's further down.
Flip the page.
Oh,
I wonder-
have nothing more, I'm 16, I got nothing more.
So I've got his 2 pages then.
Okay.
Oh, because he has 217.
I've got 2 additional pages, I'm not supposed
oh,
to
no
have.
wonder you didn't have any concerns.
It says no employee, in a town uniform, issued uniform may go or visit an establishment that serves
Share my-
alcoholic
share my
beverages.
pages.
I just wanted to go back 1 second to Kay. John, you said life insurance, you still have it?
Yeah, I'm still paying it, like, Aflac.
All right. Oh, through Aflac. Okay. Right.
That's third party.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought, well, the last
Third party.
sentence of our life insurance says,
Aflac.
it says the
Yes, but
policy
it's-
is revoked.
Right.
Third party to the town.
But are you're talking the,
A different life insurance policy than that one.
Yeah, to
We
get
don't
it.
use Aflac for life insurance here.
No, the only way to get Aflac is you have to be a municipal employee or in a big group, some big
Right.
corporation. You can't get it as an individual, single person out on the street, so.
So John, you brought up the whole alcohol thing. So that means an employee can't go to a business here in town that serves alcohol and get their lunch meal.
No, to go sit down at the sit at the bar and have lunch? No.
But go,
that-
I think you're
it's-
talking like Country
Yeah, just
Three or,
no, that doesn't. They don't
Or-
serve
or-
alcohol. But if you go to
sell it.
A stock tavern?
sell it, they go to any of the any
But the
business
thing is,
that serves
it's an
alcohol.
inappropriate.
but you can't go, he's saying is have lunch.
The way this read is,
Well,
you
I mean,
can't- you
to
can't
have them
there
go in
and
there in
pick up your lunch.
uniform and have lunch, and it sends a wrong message.
No,
'cause
if
then
you're going to
gonna
pick
have-
up your lunch, though.
Yeah, you still
If you're
can't
going
set
in
the-
to pick it up and walk out, but to sit there
Yeah,
and have
right,
it,
Language,
in
though,
this-
that's the
the
problem.
language here
it
does
doesn't
not
say
that.
not either. I mean, it says.
No, it says no employee can, in a town issued uniform, may go to or visit any establishment that serves alcohol unless they're required to be there in the scope of their duties. If I want to go down to one of the places down in the southern end of town and go pick up my lunch, I have to change. Is the way this is worded.
Turn your shirt inside out, yeah.
Put another jacket over the shirt. I mean,
Yeah, no.
It's,
So how would it be worded so you can go in and pick up your food and leave?
Except for takeout.
They go to or visit.
No employee in a town should go to.
scope of their duties, take out an exception.
Yeah, take that out.
Yeah.
No.
No. After scope of their duties, comma, take out an exception.
Takeout excluded.
Take out meals.
Take out meals.
if it takes out.
excluded.
Yep.
Right, and that would encompass that. Right.
Okay, that works. Yes, on page 18, under discipline, I added in termination.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
help.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would help.
Guess you can only be suspended for 30 days.
yeah.
That's funny.
Just keep
Wonder why we
renewing-
got these people here
Just keep
for.
renewing the suspension.
30-day
indefinitely.
suspension, yeah,
Exactly.
definitely.
And there she is.
Yes, she is.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah,
Okay.
done. Okay, so we'll look on the jury duty.
Yeah.
I think that's best is whatever the law says.
Okay.
Yeah, and for the reimbursement
Because
of meals.
I know I serve
Yep.
for
Yeah,
jury
yeah,
duty.
meals, yeah.
I serve for jury duty, and because they told me that the state, the county does not pay municipal,
Which is-
So
that's
maybe,
right.
it may be zero.
And we just, you might have to
You
use
get their
vacation.
mileage
Yeah.
plus the $10 they give you for a
yeah,
check.
but no, I get paid during the day.
Yeah. Oh, you're salaried.
No, it doesn't matter, because they're not gonna pay,
The
they're
town.
not
I-
gonna pay a town agency
I
or a
think
state agency.
I think what it boils down to is that
I got
they-
my mileage
You
and that
take
was
your
it.
town, if you're an hourly employee, you're not gonna get paid for the hours you're not there. If you're on jury duty,
I
so.
don't know.
All
I just-
employees get paid.
That's what she was just saying. Yeah.
I'm just
So you gotta
saying
make sure they
that
get
when it came
reimbursed.
time to get a check, I got a check, and it only had my mileage, so I asked. I said, I thought I got
think they
$10
paid-
a day.
I think they paid $10 a
And she
day, yeah.
said, we don't pay municipal or state employees. They're not gonna write a check to the state for us to turn around and give it to the town. So that's, I don't know what the answer was, that's what the answer was told to me. But I am salary, so
It doesn't matter, 'cause that's how
it
I
may be
was.
different for hourly, I don't know.
Yeah, hourly,
Maybe
I think it's
different.
different because they're not,
Well,
Hourly.
a couple phone
So,
calls take care of it.
so
she'll find out.
so she'll, from here, so
Well,
she'll
the
make the
AG's
changes.
And so look into those 2 or 3 things we noted.
the administrative officer court, they should be online and should tell you what it is.
Yeah.
Yes, the meals and the jury duty. And then whatever we decide tonight.
So I'll put everything back in a final document, I'll clean it up. Formatting will be changed, obviously. And scheduled to public hearing?
We don't have to have public hearing.
We don't have
Not
to,
even a public hearing?
No, because according to Laura, you don't have to have a public hearing, the employees don't weigh in on it, because it's the selectmen's rule of business
yeah.
of
Oh,
how
I thought you still
employees
had
are
have
to
the public
act.
hearing to change
It's
it,
a
though.
description of, I thought I printed it,
Oh.
because Laura had weighed in on it.
That's, yeah, it's description of town policy, it's operating procedures for the town. Not for,
I'm sorry, Laura had weighed in on it.
Okay.
Yep.
Said that we don't have a public hearing, it's not, so the board looks at it, we did what we did, you can share them a clean copy, maybe for the next meeting, and then I would post it to be discussed and adopted at their next meeting, whenever they want. Which
Public
would,
comment could be had on it.
public comment could be
Okay.
had on it, but there's not a
Not a
public
public
hearing, we're
hearing.
saying.
Yeah.
'Cause
All right,
it's-
so I'll make one copy that's got the changes in red. Make it available to everyone who wants to see it, and then
Yep.
get you guys a clean one.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you for all your hard work on
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
for
Great
looking at
job.
that.
Great job.
I appreciate it. Just pulling my hair out up there sometimes.
So we have just a non-public, I believe, at
Yep.
the end,
So,
and then we're gonna adjourn?
yes.
Yes.
Did we want to discuss scheduling for the election before we?
We already did, I thought.
Well, we can discuss it more if you want. So what, John, I think you're getting at is, and I think I shared the answer with all of you, is there was an article or an RSA regarding a selectman pro tem,
Yep.
and Jack is going to work in the morning until about 1, and once Jack leaves, Jack can appoint someone in his position until the next person comes.
So that was confirmed that is okay? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, either
I
Jack
didn't- I didn't
can,
get the email,
either
so-
Jack, oh.
It may have
I
gone,
didn't get the reply.
I'm getting a lot of stuff going to my spam, so I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
I
get
know, and
till
it gets
midnight.
back to me, and then I have to do it twice. I have to release it, and then I get it twice.
I don't get notified it till midnight, so
Doesn't
that's,
say mine ends up in my junk too, from you. Yes, so either Jack can do it when he leaves, appoint someone as a pro temp until you get there, or Eileen can do it as well.
okay.
Yep.
All right.
Is Eileen gonna be there though?
She has to be, by law.
Be there for the election, yeah.
She's gotta be there.
Yeah.
She's the town moderator. The moderator has to be there, or she has a deputy
Well, you just well
moderator.
stay then.
I get other things scheduled, but they got, yeah, she's already appointed 2 pro tem people.
So I'll plan on being there
For
about 4
another
once I get
section.
out of work.
You what?
I'll plan on being there at 4 till the end.
Because there's another glitch that was thrown up as far as not wanting to wear masks. The
Oh, yeah,
attorney
you gotta go
Jan,
outside.
so they're gonna vote outside. There's gonna be a setup outside the vote, outside the building. And that side door with the,
Where we usually bring the boxes in and out.
Yeah.
on that other side door, they're gonna take one of the
Booths.
voting machines, no, the machine, and turn it so they can put their ballots in that machine from the outside. And they're gonna have a table set up with,
We haven't figured out yet
Well, they're
where
looking at-
exactly
she's
that's
looking,
gotta
but
be,
it's
because
gonna
we've
be
gotta
outside
have
the
some
door.
rope to keep them, like an alleyway, yeah.
yep, and then keep,
Do we have tents we
Have
can set
somebody
up?
checking them in and
they've
stuff
got,
too.
they've got a
because-
easy up, put up. And then they're gonna have to get one, something better come November, because it's probably gonna continue on for the November election.
We have to have it heated.
It won't stay long.
Yeah, I'd like it heated, please.
Yeah, well, yeah, were you gonna be at work?
You're talking
In your heated, heated garage?
You're worried about the March one, not November.
Right. Oh, yeah, November, yeah, just put Jack and I'd be fine.
Yeah, I'm not gonna stand out in the tent.
Yeah.
So that's.
For March,
that
I'm
was
demanding
answered.
heat, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what, to stand out and,
Yes,
hey, stand there with your sign?
yes.
Yeah,
It'd be
no,
cool.
they're not gonna be any, they're not gonna be standing at the corner, because they can't, they have to be away from the voters, so it's gonna be right on top of the voters, you'll be across the street.
Be out in the back.
You'll be in the parking lot.
With no wind barrier. The last 2 times it's been blizzard conditions.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Last year was nice.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
This year was pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
50-ish.
seeing as we
Yeah.
get the 2 landslide candidates here,
We were,
each could have put 1 vote and they'd have both won.
All right, so we're gonna go into non-public now?
Yes.
I did be like
Make a
that.
motion, we go into what, A and C again?
Yes.
Yeah, make a motion, we go into non-public under RSA 91A, :3, Roman numeral 2, A and C.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. John? Yes.
So, I mean,
And after we come out of that, we are going to adjourn, so
Yep.
good night,
See you at
everyone.
the ninth.
Good night.
Yep.
with that, I'm going home,
Night.
'cause I know what he's talking about.
Oh, yeah? You do? Okay, shut that
cameras?
thing off, the camera.